You're watching the American Conference on ESPN, where it's homecoming in New Orleans for the Tulane Green Wave, who are hoping to stay in the hunt for a conference championship and a potential berth to the college football playoff, as the Green Wave welcome in the Florida Atlantic Owls, who need 2 wins to secure bowl eligibility. Well, things just changed in a big way in the American. Navy knocking off 24th ranked South Florida at home. That means Tulane in a terrific spot to reach the championship game, and they control their destiny down the stretch starting today in Uptown. And we welcome you inside Yeoman Stadium alongside former Kansas State offensive lineman and the Super Bowl champ of the Steelers, Barrett Brooks. I'm Jack Benjamin. Smacker Miles from the sidelines shortly. So Tulane had to get a bounce back win last week at Memphis. They got it, but they can't overlook a highly potent FAU offense.
Well, you look at it, the parity in this conference is great. Even the middle of the pack looks good. There's so many teams with one loss. We're looking forward to this.
Well, you go back to that Memphis win, and Jake Retzloff, Tulane's redshirt senior quarterback, was outstanding. He did everything for them.
Absolutely. He's the cog to make that offense go. Where he goes is with his legs. He makes sure at this point that he goes out and executes this offense the way he does. He must open the offense up a little bit, take it over the top a little bit, just to open up a little bit. But, hey, I like the fact that he goes in and has a lot of confidence in what they're doing in the passing game.
Meanwhile, FAU, one of the best passing attacks in America, and they're led by a dynamic duo in quarterback Caden Veldkamp and wide receiver Easton Messer.
Yeah, you look at it, 6'6", 240-pound quarterback. I love the way this guy plays. He can rip it and rip it. This air raid offense, he's perfect to get the ball down the field. Love it.
So Tulane, which again began the day as one of 5 one-loss teams in this conference, is now one of 4 one-loss teams. Navy with that huge win at home. South Florida, who was the lone ranked group of 5 team in the latest college football playoff rankings, taking a really tough one. Tulane won the toss, elected to defer, so it'll be FAU to start on offense. And away we go from Uptown New Orleans, where Tulane is unbeaten on the season, 4-0. Last time they went unbeaten for an entire home campaign was 1998.
This could be a good one, man.
It should be. And we got a quarterback we're going to talk about a lot today, and Caden Veldkamp, partner, spotlighted him off the very top. Redshirt junior. He was at Western Kentucky for 3 years. Zach Kitley was there for a year as an offensive coordinator before going to Texas Tech. Saw a lot of intangibles he liked, and he's put up a terrific year, second in the nation in completions per game.
Man, you love how he gets the ball out of his hands really quick, and he's going to have to against this defense.
On first down, looking to throw, as FAU will do pretty much all day long. If you are curious, about 61% of their plays are passes, and they'll move about as quick as any team in the country. They snap the ball about every 20 seconds.
You know what? I'm looking at this. Sometimes it hurts you on the defensive side of the ball. They had over 90 snaps the last game.
They empty it out on second down. Veldkamp looking, and he's got his man Assad Wasim for a first down and more. It's a gain of 16 yards.
Yeah, this air raid offense, you know what you do, you have a lot of quick routes that you have to go, but then you have to make yourself available to your quarterback, and that's exactly what just happened.
FAU off a home win over Tulsa last week, 40-21. Veldkamp to throw, and along the sideline, he's got another completion to Dom Henry.
Yeah, they're executing this because they're getting the ball out there so fast. This defensive line really can't get to him. He looks comfortable in the pocket, and he's able to go out there and read the defense and get the ball out fast.
It's a run, and it's Caden Shields-Dutton who is swallowed up after a short gain. It is not an FAU offense that has run the ball very effectively so far on the season. Harvey Dyson makes the tackle along with Trayvon McAlpine.
They try to take some offensive linemen out to keep it from going.
On third down, they swing it. That's Easton Messer. They only needed a yard, and they are right near the sticks, and they'll wave that forward for a first down.
Jack, that's what you call a run play for Florida Atlantic. That's how they run the ball. Quick passes, getting out fast, screen plays, getting the ball out in the slot.
Well, they've struggled at times this season on third down. They were just 4 for 13 last week, but we were in third and short. A lot easier. Shields Dutton off a 100-yard game a week ago, and he is up to the 38-yard line on a gain of 12.
Yeah, would you spread everybody out in 10 personnel, and then you just run up a little draw play up the middle? That's how you have to execute that.
Veldkamp swings it out, another completion to Assad Wassim. So a second catch on the drive for him.
And that's exactly how you do it. You're going to open up the run because these quick passes outside. Keeping the ball out of his hands really quick allows him to do that.
You can see how quick they move it. Veldkamp launching, looking for Platt in the end zone. Knocked up in the air and intercepted.
Great play timing. Safety is over the top. It wasn't a double team, but he faded over there to make a great play over the top. It looked like it was going to be a score, but the defender goes, gets his hands up. Shine does a great job, the freshman, of pushing the ball in the air for the interception.
And Bailey Despaney, they call him Slim, with the pick. That is his first of the season and his second of his career. First one in a couple of seasons for the redshirt senior from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, it's hard, you know, when you go in a situation where you're moving the ball, you're in third and short a lot of the times, but then you throw it up. You got to make that catch or don't allow the interception. A lot of his interceptions have come that same way. Somebody coming over and tipping it in the air.
And give a lot of credit to Shine and now Jake Retzloff in this offense, which in the first half last week against Memphis was incredible. In the second half, they slowed down a good bit. And it's a little screen on first down to Shaz Preston. So here's a look at Jake Retzloff. This is his fourth school in 5 years of college football. Of course, 2 years at BYU, last year an 11-2 season. As a starter in his career at the Division I level partner, 18-4 and 11-3 in conference games.
Yeah, he was great when he was with BYU. I mean, he really ran that offense very effectively. Leaves now is, you know, doing the same thing here in Tulane. Almost 2,000 yards this year.
John Summerall, Tulane's head coach, raving to us about him earlier this week. They run it on first down. Javen Gordon, the true freshman who's taken over as the lead back for Tulane, is stopped shy of a first down. And they'll bring up third down and 4. Gordon has taken the lead role. McClure and Mobley are two guys you'll see in there a good bit as well. And a Tulane rushing attack that's been led by Retzloff. He's their leading rusher.
He's the best player right now on the offensive side of the ball for him.
You can see the numbers on the season on third down. This is 3rd and 4. And that pass incomplete. Looking for Bryce Bohannon over the middle. And he was off target with one of his leading receivers.
You got to take advantage of opportunities like this. You just got to turn over. You got to push the ball down the field. I didn't expect to go 3 and out like that. I thought they would run the ball a little more and give Retzloff a chance to go out there and really execute this offense. They passed a little more than I thought they were.
Alec Clark has been one of the best punters in the country so far this year. 8th in punt average, right around 45 a kick. Easton Messer's a dangerous punt returner. This one takes a 2-lane hop, and it will roll right around the 23-yard line, 27-yard line, I should say, after a punt that goes 51 yards. No score. Each team's had it. Each team has punted here in New Orleans. Well, Florida Atlantic's head coach Zach Kittley at 34 years of age is the youngest head coach in the FBS. For more on him, here's the third member of our crew, Smacker Miles.
Yeah, guys, when you talk to Coach Kittley, one thing that always comes up is the influence his dad, Wes, has had on his career. Wes is the track and field coach at Texas Tech, a highly decorated coach at that. 2-team national titles, 12-team Big 12 titles, and even more impressive than that, Coach Kittley says is his dad's integrity and character. He has the biggest influence on Kittley's career, but he tries to be a dad with Kittley, texting him, "Air it out, son," before every game.
Great stuff, Smacker. Yeah, 27 years at Texas Tech for his dad. Pretty good experience to lean on when you're a first-year head coach, as Jamari Sands gets the carry on first down for FAU. You can see the Owls trying to establish the run game early for Kittley. He was at Texas Tech under Joey McGuire over the previous couple of seasons, partner, and they leaned on the run game with Taj Brooks. It hasn't been the same kind of thing here because of the personnel.
Yeah, musical chairs by the offensive line. You know, nobody's been there for the entirety of the season, so that's what's going on.
Dom Henry makes the catch.
You know, when you're an offensive lineman, you want to play next to a guy and have some camaraderie with him, you know, cohesiveness. And at this point, they haven't played with each other long enough to get that from him.
Kevin Adams made that stop. 3rd and 6. Tulane brings the blitz, and they pick it up, and they find their man over the middle. It's Jamari Sands. So out of the backfield, he finds a little bit of a seam in that defense as Mekhi Williams makes the stop, but not for a first down.
You know, that's exactly what you do. If the blitz comes at you, you throw right over the blitz, and that's exactly what happened. Turn around, make yourself available to him, and then that's a great pass, great catch. Keep the chains moving.
Sands is the leading rusher on this FAU team. That's his 26th catch of the year. Messer, the motion man. And they find Messer, and he has the grab. So Messer with his 2nd catch of the day, and he now on the season has caught 76 passes, against 2nd in the country in catches.
Yeah, and they want to do that's just like a run play for him. They keep him in motion, go him out there in the jet motion, get the ball to him early. That way the defense isn't on him quick enough. Now they're 2nd and 5, and you know that's manageable for him going on to 3rd down.
To your point, staying ahead of the stick, so important. It's a run for Sands, and there's nothing doing. He just tries to fall forward and salvage some yardage. Tackle from Jordan Norman.
And this is exactly what this Tulane defense did against Memphis. They twisted and stunted and stopped the run just by having more bodies than you have the block. And then they're moving them around so much it's hard for the offensive line to get a hand on them.
3rd and 8. They need the 48. Veldkamp with some time, now he's flushed. Looking downfield, he hoists it up, and it's dropped. Well, he made something out of nothing there. It goes through the hands of his intended target, Assad Wasim. Looked like he should have had that ball.
Yeah, you look at him, even though he was rushed on it, that was a good pass, got it to the receiver. The receiver comes back to him. You've got to make that catch. You don't get many opportunities to do that. Now it's, you know, your defense is going to be out on the field again. That's what happened last week. Over 90 plays is too much for any defense to go through without, you know, giving up some big plays.
Redshirt sophomore nose tackle Derek Shepard brought the heat. Amari Hayes is back to return. Logan Alupo's punt. He comes in averaging 45 per punt in the season. It's a low one that bounces out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line. We figured it'd be a high-scoring affair here today. Nothing on the board so far. See if that changes Tulane's offense on the field after this. Well, John Sumrall's in his second year as Tulane's head coach, his fourth year as a head coach overall after 2 years at Troy. Look at the company he is in. Highest winning percentage among active FBS head coaches, fifth on that list, only behind Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, and Curt Cignetti.
Some great ones there.
That is some great company as Tulane's offense goes back to work. And it's a run on first down by Jamari McClure, and he picks up about 5. John Sumrall and Curt Cignetti were actually coaching against each other in the Sun Belt. You think about the way that things can change in a hurry, but Curt Cignetti, who was at James Madison when they transitioned from FCS to FBS, then got the Indiana job, and this is a guy in John Sumrall, no way to shy around it. His name has been talked about in a lot of the coaching cycles. There are so many power conference jobs open, and when you have as much success as he has, your name is naturally going to come up as it's a run for Javen Gordon. But again, he's done a great job of keeping his team focused on the task at hand and staying in the moment. He told us he loves it here.
Well, I mean, that's, see, he's keeping his recruits here. That's how you keep your recruits here. You start entertaining those different jobs, it's going to be hard to bring guys here. So he understands what's going on in college football now, and I think he's doing a great job of playing accordingly with the rules that are now being opened up with everything that's going on in college football.
On third down and 4, Retzloff on the out route, and that is complete, but not enough for a first down.
Great defensive play on the out route. Didn't give him much opportunity to turn up the field. That's how you play defense. You play him tight, but then when he does catch it, make sure he goes nowhere. Kept him on the first down. That's second time they've come out and just punted back to the Owls.
Well, that was Zach Carl Lewis making the catch. Punt away from Alec Clark. And that is muffed. Oh, it's a muffed punt. It's grabbed by Tulane. A rare miscue from the special teams unit of FAU, and right on top of it was Tulane's Sean Nicholas.
Yeah, you've got to secure that, and this Messer's not a guy that makes those type of mistakes. You cannot hurt yourself, and that's exactly what just happened. Florida Atlantic, they wanted to come in and set the tempo. This is not how you set the tempo.
Well, that is a crusher for FAU in a game where they are trying to be perfect, and there's the turnover beads. So FAU gives it away, and Zach Kitley's team has had trouble with turnovers all season long. In fact, in the turnover margin category, they are now a -13 in the season. They finally got back in the plus column for a game last week against Tulsa, but Tulane now inside the red zone without having to do anything. Retzloff back to work. And on the end arounds, room to run. It's a touchdown and a walk-in for Jimmy Callaway. He gets his first score of the season and his first rushing score of his career.
Yeah, jet sweep on the outside, and they just had more numbers on that side. When you do that, you come around like that, you have more blockers. So when he comes around, they're able to get up to the second level, block him on that, and this is a great time for you to open it up. After they score, take advantage of the opportunity. After they turnover, take advantage of the opportunity, go in and score the first play. This sets the tone for the rest of the game.
14-yard rushing score for Callaway, who actually threw a touchdown pass against UTSA. And the extra point from Patrick Durkin is up and through. How about Tulane getting a little tricky? Jimmy Callaway, he was a high school quarterback, showing off the speed there. Tulane up 7-0 in New Orleans. 7-0 Tulane. They convert off the muffed punt from Florida Atlantic very quickly on a touchdown run from Jimmy Callaway, who gets in the end zone for the first time in his Tulane career. He did throw a touchdown pass against UTSA to Omari Hayes, but first time he's touched the end zone since he was at Tennessee in 2021 as a redshirt freshman. Guy who's made 3 college stops now, his 6th year of college football. Tennessee, Louisville, and now Tulane. Durkin is sent it away, and that'll go through the end zone for a touchback. All right, we look back to that last punt. Watch this sequence here. And normally a very sure-handed punt returner, partner, in Messer.
Yeah, he doesn't make mistakes like that. Sure-handed, definitely. They trust him to do that, and then for him to go ahead and muff that punt, and then they turn right back around with the jet sweep around. Great play by their offense to make sure that they pay for that opportunity and the turnover.
Now you can see Caden Veldkamp so far today, already 2 turnovers on FAU, something they had to limit. They will dump it off to Caden Shields Dutton, who is to the 30 and out of bounds. Now there's a flag.
You're trying to move the pocket a little bit, so he's not just standing back in the pocket.
Pass interference, offense, number 89. Penalty is half the distance. Replay, first down.
That is on the tight end, Michael Kirch.
Yeah, you look at it, they're trying to create a little natural pick, but you can't block like that, and expect them not to call it. I guess he thought it was a run play. He was going to turn around and they were going to run the ball down the field with Caden. I guess Caden didn't get the memo.
Reed Jackson, by the way, our referee today. So Veldkamp now backed up, and his pass is caught by Messer. Well, that's one way to redeem yourself. Breaking tackles around the 40. He's past midfield and into Tulane territory inside the 40.
He's a tough guy. He understands that, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to come back and, make sure I reward my quarterback on a great catch, number 1, because it's behind him. But then the run after the catch was great, amazing.
A 50-yard gain. Veldkamp right back to the air. He's looking over the top, and an outstanding catch from Dom Henry.
And that's what you call
went right over Isaiah Shine.
That should have been a pass interference also. He was being held by the DB, still completes the catch. That's great concentration.
Yeah, that's a heck of a grab by Henry. Came in as their 4th leading receiver. Gain of 28, so completions of 50 and 28. And this is what this offense does at its best.
Air raid at its finest.
First down and goal. Right at the 10. Veldkamp with a clean pocket. Now pressure coming, and down he goes. He had all kinds of time, but not for long. Cameron Hamilton finishes him off.
Yeah, you have to have that eternal clock in your head when you're a quarterback. You can't think you can sit back there forever. Yes, this offensive line, they block pretty well. They got 3-4 seconds on the play, but you can't keep the ball like that. That's what you call a coverage sack. Not necessarily on the offensive line, but more so on the quarterback and his inner clock not going off when it was supposed to get the ball out of his hands. Sometimes you got to throw the ball away and fight another day.
Give Harvey Dyson credit, help out as well. He came in 4th in the American in sacks. So now 2nd and goal and forever. Veldkamp towards the end zone, and that's incomplete. They were looking for Wasim. Now there is a flag. Out in coverage was Javion White. 2nd in the American in picks, coming in with 3.
Pass interference, defense, number 3. Automatic, first down.
Yeah, you can't impede the receiver from going there, but he has just as much right to get the ball also.
And that's a tough call on White, who's been so good all season long, sophomore from Winsboro, Louisiana. He had 3 picks in his first 3 games, including 2 against Northwestern in their season opener. A season opening statement, by the way, for the Green Wave. They won 23-3. The only group of 5 team with 2 power conference wins this season. Veldkamp, quick hitter. That's complete. And Wasim's brought down. Ball is out. It looked like FAU and one of the linemen hopped on it. Kevin Adams knocked it free. It looked like they just jumped on it. Scarlett Jean, I think the right tackle hopped on.
Yeah, tried to run a screenplay, but I think it was down. The ball can't be, the ground can't call a fumble on the play, so it would have been down.
It looked like that forearm, too. It's a good call on their partner. So this has been a wild goal-to-go sequence. You had 1st and goal that backed up to 2nd and goal at the 20, then the pass interference, and then a loss. The handoff. Nothing doing. Jamari Sands is stuffed.
That's great defense by Williams.
Yeah, Mekhi Williams. Career high 10 tackles for him last week at Memphis.
Yeah, he just fills the hole. Sees the run back coming, fills the hole. That's exactly what you want from your inside linebacker.
3rd down and goal. Ball at the 5.
I'm shocked they're in 11 personnel. 1 running back, 1 tight end. They're usually in 10.
Play clock ticking down. Hand off to Sands. Trying to bounce it. He is down to about the 1.5-yard line. And in a game like this, you start to wonder, are they going? Considering this is the most aggressive team in the FBS going for it on 4th down.
I think they're going to go for it. To me, that's what you do. You show your team that we're going to be aggressive. We're going to stay aggressive.
They go for it on 4th down 57% of the time. That's more often than any team in FBS. It's incredible to think about.
Good, bad, or indifferent, he's going to stay aggressive.
This will be their 50th time going for it on 4th down this season, and they convert at about a 67% clip. How about this formation? Veldkamp is a flag, and into the end zone goes Dom Henry, but again, there is a penalty marker on the fields. John Sumrall is about 10 yards on the fields. I mean, that's about as unique a formation as you'll see.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
Normally when you see a formation that unique, something went wrong.
Yeah, you look at it, too many guys that are not on the line of scrimmage. You got to get up. As an offensive lineman, you're not used to being out there in space like that. So, you got to make sure you're up on the line of scrimmage. It's easy when you're, the ball's sitting right there. But when you're that far out, you really don't know where your head is lined up, and that's why the penalty was called on him.
And no choice now but to kick it, even for Zach Kitley and how aggressive he gets. It'll be a 25-yard attempt for Garrison Smith, one of the best kickers in the country this year, 13 for 15. And that is true. So make him 14 for 16 now. For his career, he's now made 45 field goals, which is among the top 10 among active kickers in all Division I. Look at this exchange after the kick.
Sometimes, if you don't believe it in yourself, nobody else will. So he kind of convinced the refs that, yeah, it's good. I told you it's good, so it's good.
Well, he's now 8 for 8 this year inside of 30 yards. His only 2 misses have come from 49 and 37 on the season. And FAU does have points on the board, but you wonder in a game like this, and again, relatively low scoring so far from what we maybe thought, but will field goals win you a game like this?
No, and coach is going to stay aggressive. Florida Atlantic, they understand you got to go tit for tat, score for score. And going against this defense, I thought they did pretty good driving the length of the field the way they did. But you got to close the deal. It's almost like a victory for Tulane to get all the way down there and then not score a touchdown. It's almost like, all right, we did something. We stopped them from scoring a touchdown.
See here, there's a big hole. There's a flag. Down the sideline goes Ty Thompson. He's in for a touchdown. Now there is a flag.
You can see that from the beginning. It opened up like the Red Sea.
It's actually TJ
During
Smith.
the return, holding, return team, number 81, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Tulane.
Yeah, here you go. You know, watch the holding right there. He pulls him down. And that's just being aggressive. That was being aggressive by the block, and then he turned around and just pulled him on top of him.
It was actually TJ Smith on the return, so.
That's kind of tough, you know, because at this point, he's getting actually pummeled on the play. So, you know, to kind of pull him on himself to not look as bad. But they called a holding call on it. The turn was set up perfect, though. I mean, perfect.
So it negates what would have been a 100-yard touchdown return for TJ Smith, and Jake Retzloff and this offense will go back to work from the 20. Arnold Duda Barnes the third in the backfield. Off play action. Retzloff has a wide open man. It's Anthony Brown-Stevens. And he's up the sideline and out of bounds with a big gain on the play of 26 yards.
That was a great play. It's called a boot. That's a boot protection. They send that motion, and then he boots around, turns around, and that's hard for a right-handed quarterback to do. But he comes around, gets his hips around, and delivers that ball. That's a great play call by the Tulane offense.
Retzloff with a clean pocket, and he's got Brown-Stevens again. Back-to-back catches for him. He was certainly down. The lineman will hop on top of it. And Brown-Stevens, who comes off a big game against Memphis, where he had a career-high 69 yards last week, has a couple catches in the drive already for about 50.
Yeah, you're going to be proud of, you know, the catch and the delivery by the quarterback. But let's get the big guys up front some love. That was a long time that, you know, he could sit back in the pocket and go down the field as far as he did. That's exactly what this offense needed. Jake wants to push the ball down the field, but he hadn't had time. This time he had the time. He pushed the ball down the field. Great play, great conversion for him.
Back-to-back catches for him. You can see what Retzloff's done passing today. He'll throw it again. Only a four-man rush. Rifles, and that's a rare drop for Bryce Bohannon, who's normally about as sure-handed as it gets.
Yeah, Jake could have picked a whole lot of guys on that play. Look, the running back was sitting all by himself on the outside. But, you know, you can't at this point say, you know, the production's right there. He has to catch it, bring it into his body. You can't afford to do that.
Can I mention something, by the way, too, partner? If you're going to drop a pass, you may as well drop one in a jersey that looks that good. How about these City Edition uniforms today for Tulane?
I mean, even the helmet looks good.
Low snap, Retzloff able to handle it. Has to fire it outside, and that's through the hands of Barnes. So a couple of drops now in the drive. I mean, they typically, game in, game out, have the freshest uniforms in college football. These are to a different level. You can see all the intricacies and design of New Orleans and the various aspect of it. And those are some special City Edition unis for sure.
Yeah, even the, you know, block lettering on the back. That's unconventional, you know, as far as putting stuff on the back of jerseys.
Well, this is a big 3rd down and 10 now. If they can get a chunk, they might be in 4-down territory. Motion man is Hayes. They hand it off. And straight ahead goes Javen Gordon for about 5, maybe 4.5. Now they've got a terrific kicker in Patrick Durkin. But this may very well be 4-down territory. With the clock ticking down, they don't have to decide here. They can wait for the end of the first quarter and think it over, which is exactly what this offense will do. A wild opening 15 minutes here in uptown New Orleans. Couple of turnovers on FAU. Tulane driving in a 4th down and 4 facing them when we come back to start off the second quarter. Green Wave trying to keep their title hopes alive in the American. American on ESPN Plus is home to 40-plus college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events, and every American Conference championship throughout the season. For more information and to sign up, visit stream.espn.com. Homecoming weekend here in Uptown New Orleans. The Tulane faithful hoping their team can keep their bid for a conference championship and a CFP berth alive today. Tulane going for it on 4th down and 5. On the season, they are 5 for 12. Towards the bottom of the ABS, they don't go for it much.
Look for Preston on this play.
They need the 23. Retzloff, all kinds of time. Lofting it deep, has a man, and a touchdown to Bryce Bohannon. He dropped it in a bucket, and Bohannon paid it off. His second touchdown of the season and the second of his career.
Yeah, picture that. I called for Preston on the opposite side. He goes opposite for a touchdown. It was great because they had a bunch to the right side, and it just opened up, and they just didn't cover it right. When they deciphered it, it was too late. Bohannon was already 2 yards away from the defender. Great route, great pass.
You know, we talked with the Tulane offensive coordinator Joe Craddock about Bryce Bohannon and his development. It's a guy who has stayed around this program for 5 years. Extra point is away and through. And I say that because in today's day and age in college football, when you don't get a lot of opportunity early in your career, you don't always want to stick where you are. This is a guy who in his first 2 years, partner, had 5 total catches. He has exploded in his 5th year of college football.
Absolutely. You know, it was just great the way they deciphered that. You know, they didn't get out on that bunch. It opened up just right. Caught the Owls defenders flat-footed, and then he just outran the coverage on it. And a great pass by Jake.
And Joe Craddock and John Summerall both told us, you know, when Bryce Bohannon arrived on campus, or when the staff arrived for the first time, taking over from the previous staff, they didn't know if Bryce Bohannon could play for them and be a significant part. Well, he has become an integral part of this Tulane passing attack, especially over the last couple weeks. Career high 101 receiving yards last week, and Retzloff continues to dial it in. His first touchdown pass of the day.
JB, kids never stay in school at one school for the entirety of their season. And for him to be here, they didn't know whether they wanted him. They didn't know why he was hanging around. But this is why. If you stay, you can be great. And that's exactly what happened here with the Green Wave.
Durkin will send that one away for a touchback, which is what he does most of the time. There is a penalty. A flag down around the 33-yard line. John Summerall adamantly pointing in the direction of FAU. And there's Zach Kitley, his team now down 14-3.
There's no foul for a blindside block on the play. First down, FAU.
So they wave it off, and FAU's offense will go to work. All right, partners, so they've had chances in this game already. And we've seen the red zone struggles continue a little bit for them. They've had a tough time all season long officially putting the ball in the end zone. Most yards in a quarter this season for Caden Veldkamp, but they didn't get the ball in the end zone.
And that's been a problem for them, especially when they get in the red zone.
Now, 2 turnovers have been a problem, too. He tosses in the flat, and that is dropped by Caden Shields-Dutton, although I'm not sure even if he catches it, he would have been in bounds. So Veldkamp through the air today, now 10 for 14. Well, we mentioned he's second in the country in completions per game, but he doesn't throw for a lot of yards per attempt or per completion.
Yeah, in the air raid, you want fast out routes. In the middle of the field, you want, slants, and those are usually short yardage type of pass plays.
That was why it was a welcome sight to get Easton Messer that 50-yard catch early. 4-man rush. Veldkamp out quick that time. It's Assad Wasim, and he is dragged to the turf. A nice tackle from Javion White.
You get the ball out your hands real quick on a stop route on the outside. Get back to the line of scrimmage. They want to run more plays. They haven't been as efficient in running a lot of plays that past first quarter. So I think they're going to start amping it up a little bit, get more plays, more involved, with play selection. 3rd down and 6.
2 for 4 today for FAU. They need the 35. Veldkamp out quick. Messer. Can he make a man miss? He does. He gets the sideline and more, and tiptoes out of bounds at the 43.
Yeah, you know, it's a great catch on the outside, but even better blocking on the outside. When you got guys that don't commit to blocking, it's usually just that's a play that becomes a negative play. But hey, when you got guys that block for you, it opens it up. Here they have a first down. Keep the chains moving.
14 more for Messer, who's now got 4 catches for 74. He's now got 78 catches on the season. Veldkamp out quick again, and that is Dom Henry. Another reception for him, his 4th, and another first down for Florida Atlantic, and this is where they're at their best.
Keep the chains moving. If you look, he didn't have a lot of pressure on him because he get the ball out so fast that this Tulane defensive line can't get there.
Gets it out quick again, Henry again. And he has another first down. That's a gain of 11 yards. So Henry back-to-back grabs. He has now 4 catches on the day. He, Messer, and Wasim all have 4 grabs.
They stay with the same personnel package. 10 personnel, just 1 running back, no tight ends, and keep that defensive line out there without giving them a chance to sub.
Flag down, false start. Movement on the FAU offensive line. That's on Mauricio Hines. He is their left guard. 6'5", 305 redshirt freshman from Porters Lake, Nova Scotia in Canada. Guy who was a hockey player growing up, if you would believe it or not.
The hockey.
Of course, hockey, the national sport in Canada. There's a wide open Brandon Hoke, beg your pardon, and he's got a first down.
That's what air raid's all about. Get the ball out of your hands, but they run a great combination. Spacing on the outside. Comes in, stop right, makes himself available for the quarterback.
So after the gain of 8, they go back to the ground game, and Shields Dutton, who is brought down right around the 12. I call it right around the 17.
They have this defense out of sorts right now. They don't know what to do.
Veldkamp to throw again. Lofting it up for Messer. Incomplete, but a flag. You saw a little bit of a tug from Jack Chenchu, redshirt sophomore free safety who had an interception last week.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 1. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Now, Chenchu's pick last week was a huge moment in that Memphis game, but that's a mistake there by the redshirt sophomore who began his career at Troy playing for John Sumrall.
And that's what the beauty of what the air raid is, because you find matchups. There you had a matchup where you put a receiver on a safety, and they're not necessarily, you know, built to go out there and handle slot receivers like that. So Messer just runs past them.
Shields Dutton next to Veldkamp. They fake the pitch. Veldkamp looking wide open to Shields Dutton, and it's through his hands. That was 6 if he caught it. Instead, it becomes second down and goal.
Caden put too much sauce on it, you know, threw it too hard. He had enough time to give him a catchable ball. The defense just totally forgot where he was. You had a guy rushing out there. He went to turn around and get back on him, but then by then it was too late. He was all by himself. He got it. He wants that back. I mean, put it right on him.
It's been an issue for him this year at times, is the inaccuracy. The interceptions have been a problem too. He's thrown 11 of them. Actually now 12 after the one in the first quarter. On second and goal, they run it with Shields Dutton up the gut and inside the 5. And it's third and goal.
They stay with that same personnel package. No, they finally bring in a tight end. It's 11 personnel. They're trying to spread them out a little bit, so they put the tight end out a little farther, detached from the offensive line.
Third and goal. Ball at the 4. Veldkamp rolls. He's flushed. Looking around, lofts it out of the end zone. It's incomplete. Closest receiver to it was Jayshon Platt, who came in as their second leading receiver. He doesn't have a catch yet today. And now it's 4th down and goal.
That's great defense by this Tulane defense. We call it sprint right option. It's usually the best play in football. But what they do, they run a stunt. They flex everybody out and slant everybody on the outside, which allowed them to get up the field and create havoc by getting in the passing lanes.
Well, here they go again on 4th down. A team who goes for it on 4th down more than anyone in the nation. 4th and goal from the 4. All kinds of time for Veldkamp. He rifles into the end zone for a touchdown. Sean Platt. Well, there's a way to get your first reception of the game. A big-time connection in his 5th touchdown of the season.
Great catch by Pratt, but even better pass by Caden. Right in the bed box, in between 2 defenders. Great call.
There was not a lot of room to fit that football, was there?
No, not at all. Between 2 defenders.
Javion White was draped all over him. It didn't matter for Sean Platt. He was one of the top all-purpose guys yardage-wise in the country. He's also a key returner for them. Extra point try is away and through for Garrison Smith, who remains perfect. He's made all 102 in his career. How about Sean Platt finding pay dirt in New Orleans? FAU back within 4.
We're back in New Orleans. Tulane leads Florida Atlantic 14-10. Before that last drive, Coach Kitley went over to the offensive line coach, Stephen Hamby, and he told him he wants more protection inside. He said, I'm not worried about the perimeter. They're shooting the gaps. He suggested they bring in some more tight ends, and it paid off on that last drive.
Yeah, really good stuff, Smacker. We were talking with Zach Kitley about his offensive line, which has been shuffled around so much this season. It's been basically like musical chairs all year with how many guys have shifted around.
And that's not what you do with an offensive line. You know, these guys got to have, cohesiveness together. You got to know what your brother's going to do before it even happens. And playing offensive line, for the entirety of my career, you just can't allow teams to come in and penetrate gaps like that. And that's exactly what's happening. They've got to close the splits in a little bit, and, maybe bring in a little bit of extra blockers, and that's what they've been doing. That's why we've seen a lot of 11 personnel, 1 running back and 1 tight end.
Another kickoff for Andrew Nelms. His last one was nearly taken back for a 100-yard touchdown by T.J. Smith before it was waved off by penalty. This one is a touchback. The 40th he has delivered on the season. So FAU responds to Tulane with an 11-play, 75-yard drive. They go for it again on 4th down, which is nothing new. They've now gone for it on 4th down a couple times today. and 50 times on the season. Zach Kitley, the most aggressive guy in the country as far as going for it on 4th down. And why not when you're the youngest coach in FBS?
You heard he said with his pops, let it fly.
There you go.
His father said, let it fly.
Wes watching on proudly after that last score. Retzloff, meanwhile, hands off on 1st down to Barnes. And he bulldozes forward past the 30 to the 31. That's a nice play on 1st down to get 6 and rip off more than half the chains.
Yes, you know, 6 yards in a cloud of dust. This is exactly what they want to do and they need to do, especially against this defense. You need to keep that offense of the Owls off the field. And how do you do that? Controlling the clock, control the line of scrimmage, and running the ball.
It almost looked like Retzloff wasn't ready for that snap. And that looked like a little bit of miscommunication up front. And for you as the former offensive lineman, your partner, I'll let you break this one down.
Well, what it was, the center snapped and nobody else was ready. The center was early on this. It's a good thing Retzloff caught it because you see everybody else was late. That was a bad snap count by the center. You know, you can't call him offsides because he's snapping the ball.
The center is Jack Holyfield, redshirt senior. He's a transfer from Appalachian State. A guy that John Sumrall was raving about. He's raved about his offensive line coach as well.
I want to go coach him down there with the offensive line.
Evan McKissick's done a great job with this unit. As Retzloff's feeling the heat, he throws it out wide. It's complete to Callaway, who had the touchdown run earlier. Now he gets involved in the pass game. And he's got a gain of 8 yards and a 1st down.
They trust Jake to go out there and run this offense. They want him to sit in the pocket, but we're talking about a guy who wants to get it and use his feet. He wants to be aggressive. He wants this defense to be so confused because he can run it and pass it.
Callaway hadn't really been involved in the offense until today. He's now got a touchdown rush and a 1st down catch there. And again, he's thrown for a touchdown this year too. Not a ton doing on 1st down for Jamari McClure, redshirt freshman from Goshen, Alabama.
That's poetry in motion to me, running the ball like that. That's just straight going down dive. Get it to the running back, going north and south. Had that offensive line come off the ball.
It's had to be a lot more running back by committee this year for John Sumrall's offense. No more Mekhi Hughes, who was their do-it-all guy for a few years. As Retzloff looking to take a shot on the sideline and on the back shoulder. That was nearly picked. Good coverage out wide from Duda Rogers, the Purdue transfer with the PBU, his 3rd of the year.
Yeah, you know, on the comeback, he turns around. He's stride with him. You know, like I said, the defender has just as much cause to get the ball also as the receiver. And that was just a great play by him, being able to not just break it up, but almost intercept it.
Good coverage on Zycarl Lewis, who had the reception earlier. 3rd down and 6. Tulane needing the 47. Retzloff fires over the middle. It's complete. And a 1st down to Shaz Preston. Now Preston, 85 yards on 3 catches and 2 touchdowns against Memphis last week.
Great blocking up front.
12 players on the field, defense. Penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
And it was a free play, as we found out.
You know, that offensive line is giving him great time. You know, Jake is going to take advantage of that, and he's able to look down the field, even on these long crossing routes, and deliver a very catchable ball. They've got to get more. This Owls defense they have to get more pressure on the quarterback. That's not doing enough right now to keep him even, you know, thinking about the pass rush.
A 19-yard gain to the 40-yard line it goes. Tulane trying to tack on to a 4-point lead. McClure up the gut, room to run, and he's dragging tacklers with him inside the 15-yard line.
This
and a gain of 26.
Yeah, this is offensive line starting to come off the ball. Drive block. Get a hat on the hat. Keep a hat on the hat. You know, I learned real early in my rookie year, talking to Ricky Waters, he said, man, I don't need you to just drive guys off the ball. You know, these guys are NFL players. What I need you to do is just put a hat on the hat, and I'll take care of the rest. And that's exactly what happened. Right up the gut, had a hat on the hat, let the running back make the cut. Don't force it. Let him make the cut where he wants to go.
Longest run of the season for McClure, whose previous long run was 11 yards from the 14. They fake the sweep action. Retzloff throwing, end zone, and caught for the touchdown. Anthony Miller Jr. His 5th catch of the season and his first career touchdown grab.
Great play, and they faked the jet sweep. They scored a touchdown on the previous touchdown, and then ran a boot on the backside, and the tight end's able to go down there and make a play.
What a grab by Miller, who began his career at Indiana. Former consensus 3-star recruit, highly touted prospect, only had 1 catch a year ago. That one goes for 14 and a score. And Retzloff has his 2nd passing touchdown today after throwing 3 of them last week.
Great pass protection. Quarterback's in the pocket, very comfortable, changing it up a little bit. Boot protections. Great play calling by this Tulane offense.
Durkin's extra point, away and through. How about this Tulane drive? 8 plays and 75 yards. The career-long rush from McClure, and then the first career touchdown catch for Anthony Miller. Tulane by 11. (21-10) the lead for Tulane on FAU under the midway point now with the 2nd quarter here in homecoming weekend in Uptown New Orleans. So this right now, the current odds via ESPN Analytics to reach the American Championship game with Navy's win over South Florida. The Bulls now just a 5% chance. North Texas 79%. Tulane though not far behind at 65%. And again, they were named by the CFP committee when the rankings came out this past week, partner, as a team that was in consideration for a top 25 spot already. As Durkin sends this one away for a touchback. Now again, part of that goes into if you're trying to reach the championship game and you have all these tiebreakers that come into play.
Yes.
The tie-breaking system, when you don't play each other, like Tulane and North Texas didn't, becomes if one team is ranked by the committee, another isn't. that team would get the nod to go to the championship game. But again, North Texas right now via analytics in a good spot.
Yeah, they're in a good spot, but you just look at the parity that's going on in the American right now. I mean, South Florida beats UTSA. Memphis beats South Florida. Tulane beats Memphis. Then, it's just going and going. I mean, it's so many things that can happen to, really put a blocker on it.
Veldkamp, meanwhile, out of bounds, looking along the sideline for Jabari Smith Jr. Junior from Orlando with his first target today from Veldkamp. So 7:01 to play in this second quarter, alongside the Super Bowl champ, former Kansas State offensive lineman Barrett Brooks and Smacker Miles. Jack Benjamin, our entire crew with you. Homecoming here for Tulane at Yulman Stadium, where they are unbeaten this year, 4-0. FAU 4-5 right now. Got to get to 6 wins for bowl eligibility as Veldkamp lofts the sideline, and that is tipped away. A great defensive play out in coverage from LJ Green, who has really come on, the transfer from Troy.
He runs the go ride with him, stride for stride. His hands right there. It wasn't impeding his running, so it's not a flag. Great play. He turns around, gets his head around to make a play.
Dom Henry was the intended target, a former teammate of Jake Retzloff at BYU. 3rd down and 10. Feels like a big sequence here for Florida Atlantic. Remember, Tulane gets the ball to start the second half after deferring. Green wave, rush 4. Veldkamp over the middle, and it's incomplete, but a flag. So they were looking for Wasim. Well, that was actually Jabari Smith Jr. and a huge hit on him. And they may look at targeting. Despainey laid the boomstick.
Yeah, he did. And I want to see if it was. Did he hit him in the head? And I think he hit him in the shoulder.
Again, there are so many aspects to the targeting rule that you can look at.
I'm not even going to try to, say what is, what is not. We must say, that's an integral part of the offense. Big play guy.
The result of the play was an incomplete pass. Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 32. That previous play is under further review.
So again, Bailey Despainey is one of the key pieces on this defense. The starting strong safety. You can watch where he hits him. And again, we go back to all the elements that go into targeting. You watch the thrust, you watch obviously the crown of the helmet is something they're looking for. What do you see exactly
I didn't see the crown of the helmet hit him. I thought his shoulder. I thought he just tried to detach the receiver from the ball. It was a bam play.
Here's the official graphic on the rule. Again, dangerous hit involving launch, upward thrust, or severe strike. Again, the forcible hit by the crown is in this instance part of what we're looking at for sure. And again, Despainey is about as key a piece in this Tulane secondary as it gets. And he definitely gets his helmet. Now, part of it too is when you have a receiver ducking down to get a low pass. That's that part of the equation that comes into it.
I don't see any malicious intent.
Well, again, it's called targeting on the field.
Yes.
So that's a piece of this as well.
I don't know. I guess I played football back in the day where, to me, that's not a hit that was malicious. I don't think he launched. He led with his shoulder. Jake, JB, I don't make the big bucks and call these games.
Well, no, I was going to say to you, you're not wrong with malicious intent and that kind of thing, but that doesn't always matter because they have to go by the letter of the law.
After review, the ruling on the field of targeting is upheld. Yep. Number 32 is disqualified. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Based on the letter of the law, frankly, when it was called targeting on the field initially, and I think John Sumrall deep down, and maybe Bailey Despainey too, when they watch a replay, one of those plays where if it's not called it probably stays. If it is called it probably stays. And Bailey Despainey, who's a senior leader, a captain on this defense, their second leading tackler, playing in game number 54 of his career, is now out for targeting.
Yeah, well, at least, you know, he'll come back and he can play the full game next week because it happened in the first half.
So they go back to the ground game in Jamari Sands. Well, this is a Tulane secondary that has, I mean, even in the win last week at Memphis, there were moments where they certainly struggled in the pass game, allowing a couple of big pass plays, a couple of touchdowns, and they went up against a terrific quarterback in Smith. As Veldkamp looking to buy some time, he's got Sands out of the backfield with a flag down. Sands is all the way inside the 40 of Tulane and out of bounds near the 35, but again, a flag all the way in the backfield in the area of a possible hold. It was a gain of 22, but we'll see if it sticks.
I've had my fair share of those in a day. I've been hit by a couple flags in my day.
There are 2 fouls on the play, one by each team. Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, defense, holding, offense, number 57. Those fouls offset, second down.
All right.
I would have loved that type of call.
Well,
offsetting.
I was going to say, Jakevion Noenar is happy about this. Redshirt junior from Belglade, Florida, gets off the hook for the hold because of the hands to the face penalty called against Tulane.
All right, let's do it all over again. Let's replay it.
So after all that, 2nd and 8. Veldkamp buying time. And he has Messer wide open, who's got it for a first down. So
Great
those two
touch.
connect again. That's Messer's 5th catch partner, and he's nearing 100 yards again.
Great touch play. They run the deep route, and he can do that because he's moved out of the pocket.
Veldkamp back to the air, this time Brandon Hoke, and he has a first down.
Stay steady. Just keep the chains moving. They have the ability to score fast, almost too fast.
Veldkamp. Time again, and on a crosser at Sands. Tulane's defense greets him right around the 18-yard line or so. And he picks up about 5.5.
Right now they're staying on time. Caden is, you know, orchestrating his offense slow and steady for their standards.
He has been money on this drive, and we have a
Prior to
stoppage.
the snap, timeout, Tulane, their first of the half.
Well, one way to negate the speed is to take a timeout on defense.
Yeah, he was getting in the rhythm.
He was.
He was getting in the rhythm, you know, and with this offense, that's what they do. They try to keep you off. At this point, they are doing a great job of moving the chains and keeping it going.
Homecoming weekend in New Orleans. Tulane on top of Florida Atlantic 21-10. First time that these two have matched up in New Orleans. Series is tied 1-1. Last meeting in 2023 was won by the Green Wave in Boca Raton. In 2013, FAU won. It'll be second down and 5. And Sands to the ground, didn't get much. If you're just joining us, by the way, Bailey Despaney, who goes by the nickname Slim, the starting strong safety for Tulane, one of their captains, has been disqualified for targeting, a key piece in the secondary. He was also disqualified for targeting in a game against Oklahoma last season. Veldkamp on third down, quickly over the middle, and he's got one of his tight ends, Michael Kirch. So that'll move the chains and make it first and goal. And you can see him coming up hobbling a little bit. Kirch transferred in from Thomas More, Division II school in Kentucky. Season high 4 grabs last week against Tulsa. See, they look to here on goal to go. From the 7. Veldkamp keeps, and Tulane read that to perfection. First man in the backfield before you could blink was Chris Rogers.
That's a great read by the defense. He sees it blitz, comes and makes a play. That was definitely out of sorts, because that's not what Caden does.
Well, they love this combination of linebackers that they've got. You know, it's worth noting, Sam Howard's their leader in that unit. He's been playing with a broken leg. In fact, he came back last week, but they've had Rogers and Mekhi Williams in there today. So Howard, after gutting it out against Memphis, limited today. There's a pass that's caught around the 2. It's Wasim, and he's pushed backward. Yeah, they'll call it around the 3. So it's going to set up a third down and goal.
Yeah, and I thought this offense, I wouldn't even try to run it. I would throw the ball. They're having some success, especially on the outside. So I should run some spacing on the 2 receiver side and try to get somebody open. They're going to try to blitz. This defense is going to try to blitz them. So he's got to get out fast. But hopefully they have a natural rub by one of the receivers on the outside.
They motion Messer. He's Veldkamp's go-to guy typically. Little pop pass. Messer trying to get the edge, and he's knocked out of bounds. What a play in space by Jaheim Johnson. Redshirt sophomore from Hammond with a huge hit, and it's 4th and goal, and they know they're going for it.
You will not cross this line of scrimmage. That's a great play. Great play.
Jaheim Johnson, who the coaching staff was raving to us about. Tulane's DC, Greg Gasparano, just loves him in the way that he's come on of late. And now another 4th down.
That was great by Tulane to slow him down, because they took somebody out and replaced somebody. They then had to let the defense do the same thing.
Play clock is all the way down. Zach Kitley's going to call a timeout. This is a huge play.
That was a great call by the defensive coordinator. Slowing everything down because they had, you know, that opportunity for the offense to replace one of their players. The defense had the same opportunity also, which slowed them down a little bit. But here it is, you know, a little pop pass in the back with the jet motion. That's just saying, all right, I'm just going to deny you from getting this touchdown. And, you know, it's usually a reliable guy to go to on that play. He's had some success today.
All right, so 4th down. Florida Atlantic. Now, this is not the entire season. This is what they've done over the course of the start of October on. 21 for their last 24. Now, on the season, we mentioned they've gone for it more than 50 times. But, again, converting it more than a 90% clip over the last month and a half or so.
That's pretty good odds for me. I'd stay aggressive also.
They're already 1 for 1 today. 4th down and goal at the 1. Running back is Shields Dutton. It is Veldkamp trying to get to the goal line, and Tulane stuffed them. The Green Wave make a stand. Chris Rogers looked like he got there again. And that Tulane linebacking core comes up clutch.
That is a great play by the guys in the middle. The defensive line up front presses the offensive line back. Penetration kills all run plays, which allow your linebackers to come up and make plays. That is an absolute amazing play by this defense.
How about that drive defensively for Chris Rogers and what he's doing out there? Again, their leader, Sam Howard, not out there. Rogers had to be a guy to step up. A junior in his first major action. That drive goes 12 plays, 74 yards, and takes 5 minutes. But FAU turned back inside the 1 as Tulane makes a stand. And Chris Rogers, who came in as Tulane's third leading tackler, had a huge game against Memphis, is backing it up here. And Tulane did a great job there. And they got FAU to jump offside. Backed up inside their own 1.
Too many mistakes.
Number 1 with contact, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now that's a huge mistake on the defense for FAU. C.J. Doggett.
That's just the discipline of having a veteran offensive lineman that played together, held their water, allowed that defense to make a mistake.
So a little bit of breathing room now for this Tulane offense. Just north of the 2-minute timeout. Retzloff hands off. And it's Zuberi Mobley, the FAU transfer, going up against his former team. There's a couple of FAU transfers on this team. He and Omari Hayes.
That's a 2-minute timeout.
Facing their former teammates here today. 2-minute timeout here in New Orleans. 21-10 lead for Tulane. And the defense coming up with a big-time stand moments ago to keep it at an 11-point lead. (21-10) Tulane lead. We've reached the 2-minute timeout here in New Orleans. The Green Wave trying to get to 8-2 overall, trying to get to 5-1 in the American and stay right in the hunt to reach the conference championship game. As on 2nd and 1, they'll sneak it with Retzloff, and he needed about a half yard, and he got that and more for a first down. So the Green Wave trying to extend this lead prior to halftime. Again, they do get the ball to start the second half as well, so they can bookend the half with scores. That could be huge. Now they go with Mobley on the ground, and he is wrapped up and turned aside by a couple of his former teammates.
Yeah, you look, they're trying to, clog up the middle, so they bring in some guys in the box to try to keep this run game from being explosive like it's been the majority of the game.
Demarius McGee, a transfer from Kansas, was in there to make a tackle, as was Leon Hart Jr. There's a Marshall transfer, second leading tackler on the team, coming in 9 in white. Green Wave have scored touchdowns on each of their last 3 drives. And now there's a new quarterback in Brendan Sullivan, who will drag a couple of bodies forward, and he gets about 3 yards. Timeout is taken. Sullivan was initially in the lead to earn the starting quarterback job in camp before suffering an injury. Remember, they brought Jake Retzloff in very late in the process. We were talking with the coaching staff about it, partner, and Retzloff, coming over from BYU, had a few things that had to get cleared up. There's no shortage of storylines about Retzloff's journey to get over here to New Orleans, but he's obviously been outstanding. But Sullivan was a very capable quarterback coming over from Iowa after 3 years at Northwestern. And so he's a good option to have as well in that quarterback room. Meanwhile, before a 3rd down and 5 coming up at halftime, we will chat with both coaches. We'll also have some memories of a beloved coach and Kurt Hester, the late Kurt Hester, who passed away not too long ago. We had the celebration of life earlier this week. Former strength coach here at Tulane with Willie Fritz before following him to Houston. Smacker Miles will have more on that, and then we'll have highlights and first half stats as well. John Summerall was just raving to us about the impact of Kurt Hester and it continuing on with his own strength coach, Rusty Witt.
So I just started the meeting off.
He did. As Sullivan's tripped up. Now on 3rd down and 5, Tulane gets conservative there, and I don't know Retzloff if he had taken a shot as well. Kamari Johnson makes the tackle. Those are the numbers on Sullivan, and what he
big guy too.
Yeah, no, he is
6'4", 220 pounds. I think he can run just as good as Retzloff. When you have a quarterback as good as that in the second half, sometimes you want to throw him a bone, get him a couple reps. We'll see going into halftime when they come back out if Jake is coming back.
between Tulane and FAU. And here's a look at the top plays of the week in the American Conference.
Welcome into Studio A, I'm Maria Tribalpiece. This week, the American announced Players of the Week in men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and football. We highlight some of the top performers in American's Best. This week's Offensive Player of the Week in volleyball is UAB's Jordan Crook. Crook led the Blazers to a pair of wins, averaging 5 kills per set while hitting .329 on the week. She also added 1 block per set to increase her points per set to a conference-high 5.64 points per set on the week. The Player of the Week in women's basketball is South Florida's Eden Battle. Battle led the Bulls to a pair of wins over FIU and LIU, averaging a conference-best 20 points per game while shooting 47.2% from the field. She added 5 rebounds and 3 assists per game. The men's basketball Player of the Week is Tulane's Rowan Brumbaugh. Brumbaugh helped lead the Green Wave to its 4th consecutive 2-0 start by averaging 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals in wins over Samford and Texas State. The redshirt junior posted 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 steals in the season-opening win over Samford last Monday night before dropping 33 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds in a come-from-behind win over Texas State on Saturday. Football's Defensive Player of the Week is South Florida's Jarvis Lee. Lee played a crucial role in 2 defensive touchdowns to start the game for the Bulls. His blitz pressure on the first play of the game forced an errant throw, resulting in a pick 6. On the next drive, his strip sack resulted in an 85-yard touchdown. For more on the Player of the Week honors, you can visit our website at theamerican.org. Keep it right here. We have more coming up for you on ESPN+.
Uptown New Orleans, where it's homecoming for the Tulane Green Wave. So far, so good through the first half. 21-10 Tulane on top of Florida Atlantic. Back with you inside Yulman Stadium. Barrett Brooks and Jack Benjamin alongside. So in that first half, things were a little slow to start. Tulane got the benefit of the muff punt, took full advantage, and their offense really got cooking towards the end of that first half.
Yeah, you know, and then when you talk about the offense, neither offense were on time the first quarter, but after the second quarter, things started amping up for them, you know, because they got true to form of what they are. You know, you look at, they start running the ball a little bit more on Tulane's offense, and then you turn on the other side of the ball, they start running offense a little faster for the Owls. So everything started to mix the way it's supposed to mix, the way they're supposed to play.
All right, we look to the first half highlights, and there were plenty of them. So going all the way back to the first quarter to begin things, again, this punt, Easton Messer, normally about as sure-handed as it gets, one of the best punt returners in the country, muffs it. Tulane hops on top of it, and they take full advantage right away.
They run the jet sweep on the outside, going to score. That's what you do. As soon as you make a mistake, you got to capitalize on the mistake, and that's exactly what Tulane did.
Jimmy Callaway, first career rushing touchdown. Second quarter we go, and Jake Retzloff got rolling in a big way, finding Bryce Bohannon.
And it was a great play call. They had bunch formation. That defense didn't decipher it right, and he was able to get out for the touchdown on the fade route.
Now, Caden Veldkamp threw a couple of interceptions in the first half, also rifled that one in for 6.
That was double coverage, you know, so it was a great job by him.
Now, this design was really nice.
You know, when they run a boot, you know, on the side, tight end goes on the flag, and then he turned around, hit him in the end zone for the touchdown.
Anthony Miller, first career touchdown, and then a couple of big hits from Tulane's defense towards the end of the half.
Stepped on him.
You saw the big hit from Johnson, and then the stuff as well from Chris Rogers. 21-10 Tulane over Florida Atlantic. Through a half of football here in Uptown.
Coach, a couple missed opportunities. How do you finish those drives in the red zone?
Yeah, we just got to execute a little bit more. We're just like so close to off by playing with 10 on a couple plays, and but man, we've turned the ball over 3 times. They haven't turned over yet. We're down by 11. I mean, we're right here. You know, we just got to clean up the small details, eliminate these self-inflicted wounds, and we're right in this game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Smacker, appreciate Coach taking some time to chat with us. His team down 21-10, but again, missed opportunities, including not converting on a 4th down and goal at the 1-yard line when his team had converted 15 straight on 4th down and 2 or fewer yards.
Absolutely. You know, and this is one thing that they, you know, I would like to say they're uncharacteristic of them, but it's been characteristic of them. They've done it too much. Too many times where they, you know, really put themselves in bad positions by turnovers, not creating turnovers, you know, just offside penalties, you know, things like that don't allow you to be great.
Now, Caden Veldkamp did throw for 282 yards in the first half. He is nearing what would be his 4th 300-plus yard passing game of the season. The problem is he also threw 2 interceptions. And he's had a number of multi-interception games this season. He's now thrown a total of 13 of them.
It comes with being a gunslinger.
It does. But you figure if he can find a way to just be a little more accurate, and maybe if they can get some semblance of a run game going, considering they had 13 rushes for 9 yards in the half. But first things first, they got to find a way to slow down Tulane, something that has been tough to come by so far. TJ Smith is deep. He had a kick return touchdown called back in that opening half. So Andrew Nelms will send it away. Again, Tulane this year 6-0 when leading at halftime. And that goes through the end zone for a touchback, and we'll see this Tulane offense to begin the 3rd quarter. FAU won the toss, elected to receive and get aggressive. It didn't work out for them because now Tulane gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter, already up a couple scores. And Jake Retzloff, another very solid first half efficiency-wise partner, 8 for 12 and 120. The numbers yards-wise not as flashy as Veldkamp, but still very effective.
Yeah, you know, look at 282 yards. That's a great half. That's a great game for most guys. That's a great half for this Owl offense. They've got to step it up a little bit, be more consistent, and stop hurting themselves with penalties and turnovers.
On 1st down, they run it. And it's Barnes. Actually, that is McClure. And he is forward for a couple of yards. We do want to apologize, by the way, at a couple of audio issues and some technical difficulties towards the end of the first half related to power in the area. So for those of you who noticed, we apologize. We appreciate you staying with us and sticking to what is a fun one here in New Orleans. Again, homecoming weekend for Tulane. They are right in the thick of things in the American Conference Championship hunt as Retzloff fires to Brown Stevens, who makes the catch right near the line to get, which was the 35. He's maybe a half-yard shy. It'll bring up 3rd down and short.
They got to do something as far as this defense, putting some pressure on Jake. Right now, he's sitting back in the pocket and not worrying about anything. His offensive line is playing great, not allowing any penetration to him. So when you have that type of time, you can pick apart any defense.
To your point, he has been sacked 8 times all season long.
Wow, that's impressive. That's definitely impressive.
8th fewest in the FBS, and on track for the fewest sacks Tulane's quarterbacks had in about a decade. Meanwhile, they go with some trickeration on the snap, and Tulane able to move it forward with Sullivan. They bring him in those short yardage situations. You saw them do that in the first half as well. And what a luxury it is to have another quarterback who's 6'4", 220 with experience in short yardage.
Yeah, you know, put a little more beef in there. Even though if you look at it, Jake is, you know, very good with his feet also. He can definitely run around and cause defense headaches throughout the game.
And John Sumrall was raving about his entire quarterback room. There's a number of guys who have experience back there, not just Retzloff. He said, you know, I want those guys with me in a dark alley any day. That's how tough they are. It's McClure bouncing off what looked like an initial hit. And then a flag is down as he crosses the 35-yard line with an injured Owl as well.
Holding, offense, number 56, 10-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
That it goes on Shadre Hurst, who is one of the best interior linemen in all of college football. The reason why he was on the Outland Trophy watch list for the top interior offensive linemen in the country.
Well, you look at that. That was great by this defense. What they did, they got penetration. Once you reestablish the offensive line and push them back, it gives you an opportunity because it makes the running back stop his feet, redirect, and then it gives you enough time to get the rest of the troops there to stop the run play. Before, they were getting driven down the field.
One area Tulane has struggled, penalties. 5 for 59 yards. Retzloff with a clean pocket. And he's got his man again. Oh, how about that? Bohannon going airborne. He leaped right over the top of Chris Keys Jr.
Now, you know, they run a crossing route from both sides, and then he turns around, he delivers a great ball, but shows his athleticism, jumps over and hurdles him for a great play. Gets everybody on the sideline hype. Everybody's hype.
Well,
who wants it more?
Well, he was a triple jump and long jump state champ in high school. Probably could have added the hurdles to that as well. The high hurdles. They run it with Mobley. And the FAU transfer against his former team takes it up the gut for 5 yards. But we were talked about Veldkamp and him throwing for 282 in that first half. Tulane much more balanced the way they want to be. Retzloff is up to 150 passing. The run game is over 80 yards. It's a rushing attack for Tulane that on the season averages about 170 per game. So advantage Tulane on the ground in a big way so far. Retzloff. And pressure coming, and down he goes. Again, that's just the 9th time all season he's been sacked. It's courtesy of C.J. Doggett. The transfer from Ohio gets home for his 4th sack of the season.
That defensive line is really starting to come out. He beats the center right there, right in the middle of the page. I mean, just beats him with a swim move over the top. That's what you have to do. You got to hit Jake a little bit, you know, to make him worry of where you are. He's been sitting back in that pocket all day long, having a great time, throwing the ball down the field. They wanted to open up the deep routes. They've done it this game. Now you have to get some pressure on them to stop that if you want to stop this offense.
On 3rd down and 14, Retzloff. And he has his tight end, and that is close to a 1st down to Johnny Pascuzzi. A gain of 13 yards on 3rd down and 14, and now you're right there in go for it territory.
They have not had the ability really to tackle every single time. Too many missed tackles for this Owl defense. When you have him right there, they had him right there to stop him at the sticks. But instead, he gets loose and takes it up. Now they have 4th and 1.
Now it's 4th down and a long one. Tulane 1 of 1 on 4th down today. They motion Bohannon. Retzloff keeps looking, and he lunges ahead. He was right near the line to get. And I don't know, let's check on the spot.
Looked like he put the ball out before he went out of bounds.
Looked like he just stretched enough. The ruling on the field is that he was short. Yep, the ruling is that he's short. John Summerall is having a word right now with the officiating crew. He wasn't happy at all. I was hesitant, partner, because there was no immediate signal at all given that he had gotten that 1st down. And I think Retzloff was shocked because he thought he'd reached the ball across.
He was pretty confident that he did. But end of the play, I thought he reached out just a little bit to get his hand out there for the 1st down. We don't know.
I'll give Demarius McGee a lot of credit.
Finishing the play.
Getting out there and making a hustle play. Mark it down. That could be a key turning point in this game if it does indeed hold up.
Great play by this defense. They were in 21 personnel. Looked like they're going to run the ball inside. That's 2 running backs, 1 tight end.
Well, we'll take a break. Tulane turns it over on downs.
The ruling on the field was
Okay, so here's the run by Retzloff on 4th down. He was ruled shy of the line to gain. They reviewed it during the break. Watch this again. He's got to get to right around the 39.5 or so. You can see him reach that ball out, and it certainly looks like from that angle that he had enough to get the first down.
And if you look at it, he was pretty sure that he did. And to me, it kind of looks like it. But, hey, I am 0 for 1 at this point.
Well,
on calls.
They did indeed go to review and ended up changing the call.
I'm 1 for 1 now.
100%. You take that any day, right? John Sumrall, his 4th year as a head coach, 2nd year at Tulane after 2 years at Troy. Zach Kitley, his 1st year as a head coach, period. 34 years of age, youngest coach in FBS football.
After review, the runner made the line to gain. The ball will be placed at the 38.5-yard line, and it will be first down, Tulane.
Yeah, again, needed the 39 and got the 38.5, as you heard. Yeah, and you got to add that half for good measure. Retzloff, Retzloff was pointing for it right away, and that's a good job to go back and review. Brendan Sullivan is back in at quarterback. John Sumrall's team converts for a 2nd time in as many tries on 4th down today. They go Wildcat, little trickeration. Sullivan looking to throw, now scrambling around and runs. And he will tiptoe out of bounds. That's a lot of work to maybe lose half a yard. Might actually lost 1.5 yards.
Right, and it was crazy because they even flip-flopped the offensive lineman, the offensive tackle. He started out on the left side, moved to the right side. He's the right tackle. And then ran a play fake, and it was great defense on the backside. Everybody stayed and played their position, and nobody was open for the pass play.
So a loss of a yard officially. 2nd down and 11. And Retzloff back in. Pressure coming again, and finally FAU is starting to get home a little bit. What adjustments are you seeing them make in the pass rush?
Well, they're starting to blitz. That time they blitz from the outside, but what they're really starting to do, that defensive line is starting to get a little penetration up the field. They're pushing that offensive line back, and now they're starting to win the line of scrimmage. You have to do that. Whoever dominates the line of scrimmage usually are the ones that win the game.
That is Gavinch Marcelin. He is a sophomore defensive end and one of the key players on this defense for Florida Atlantic.
He's in the end zone right now.
Yeah, he is
laying on the ground.
Yeah, never a good sign to see that. He's part of a pass rush that for FAU this year has not been great getting home to quarterbacks. They're kind of middle of the pack in terms of sacks. They've done a nice job gathering in some TFLs. Guy who's had a great career so far through 2 seasons in Boca Raton. We'll take an injury timeout here. Well, when you think New Orleans, you think food. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. How about Kosher Cajun Deli in Metairie? One of the many incredible food spots around these parts. These shots are all courtesy of our producer, Mark Falk, who, by the way, we love him and he does a great job, but we didn't get invited to lunch yesterday, Barrett.
Absolutely.
Smacker also didn't get the nod, so we didn't get the invite this time, but a great spot, one of the many great local spots. We were chatting earlier, partner. It's been a couple years for you since you were
about 3 years.
Back in this area. You got any favorite foods when you come back? There's so many options with the gumbo and the jambalaya and the various spots you can get to. Any favorite for you?
Any of the ayahs and O's. Jumbo ayah, gumbo, all that stuff. I love it.
I'll tell you what, for me, just get me a beignet and I'm happy. It's that simple.
I want anything fried, too. It could be a fried boot.
3rd down and 12, meanwhile, for Tulane. Needing the 29, Retzloff with pressure. A flag is down for a possible hold as Retzloff takes it inside the 35. He took a big hit along the sideline. He's about 5 yards, make it 4 shy of a 1st down. And again, they'll check on the flag. Deshaun Batiste, who's actually a Tulane transfer, made a big hit along the. He's actually down.
Number 58, 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down. Timeout on the field for injured player.
You heard the penalty call on Holyfield, the center. Now, again, the player down is Deshaun Batiste. He was at Tulane last year. He started his career at Troy in John Summerall's 2nd season there. John Summerall checking on his former player at 2 different stops.
Yeah, it's friendly fire, too.
Oh, yeah, that's helmet to helmet. Yeah, that's his own guy. Yeah, he looked like he ran right into the helmet of Kamari Johnson, one of the linebackers. Good to see him getting up. Batiste came in as the team's leader with 3.5 sacks. Last year at Tulane, 12 games played, he had half a sack, but a guy who, again, is a native of New Orleans, went to JFK High. He starred in this area, led his high school to the 3A state title game as a senior where he had 18 sacks. He had 22 sacks as a junior, but that certainly is holding on to that kind of shoulder area, and that's a guy who's in a lot of pain right now. Talented player on the edge.
Yeah, I mean, it was instant. It was instant, and, you know, as soon as he got hit, it was instantly where he just stopped. So, I mean, I was worried about it for a minute, but, hey, shoulder injuries. That's the game we play. We choose to play it.
So Batiste will go into the injury tent. And Tulane now 3rd down and a mile. Now they've been in this spot before and gotten it to 4th down and manageable where they've converted. Can Florida Atlantic's defense get off the field and get back in this game? 3rd and 22. Retzloff. Pressure coming again. And he's going to chuck that one away. I'll tell you what. You start giving a lot of credit here as Tycool Lumen comes in and gives pressure along with C.J. Doggett. You look at the defense of FAU and their coordinator, Brett Dewhurst, and the adjustments they have made since halftime are paying dividends.
Well, yeah, you're looking on the side. What they did was, if you look at it from the defense going forward, the right side, they line up 3 on one side of the center and 1 on the other side, and then they ran a stunt and able to get penetration from that stunt, which allowed them to get to the quarterback.
Brett Dewhurst was at Coastal Carolina a year ago. It looked like Tulane might fake that one as this punt goes and bounces into the end zone after landing at the 3. So Florida Atlantic takes over a 50-yard punt. It's not going to net quite as much as that. Ball at the 20 for FAU, down 11 after this. The American on ESPN Plus is home to 40-plus college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events in every American Conference Championship throughout the season. For more information and to sign up, visit stream.espn.com. Florida Atlantic, first offensive drive of the second half. And Caden Veldkamp, after throwing for 282 in the first half, completes to his running back, Caden Shields-Dutton, out of the backfield to begin their first drive of the third quarter as they get 8 yards. So Veldkamp, the only thing he can knock him for is 2 interceptions. Of course, that's a big thing to knock him for.
Yeah.
He's now had 5 multi-interception games this year, as that pass is incomplete on a swing route looking for Wasim.
They've had a lot of drops this game also, so it's not all Caden, you know, when you look at it. They've got to bring the ball in. They got to be more reliable in catching the ball. He's not getting help a lot of the times because they're dropping the ball.
Zach Kitley's high-powered passing attack, which came in third in the FBS, averaging right around 324 pass yards a game, trying to convert on 3rd and 2 on their opening drive of the second half. Easton Messer motioning in the slot. Veldkamp on a draw play, looking for room to run, shakes a couple of defenders and nowhere to go. That Tulane defense sniffed it out perfectly. Kevin Adams, the third, made the tackle, the strong safety.
Hey, I mean, that's great effort right there. He tried to turn the corner, but, you know, they're sitting there waiting for him. You know, that's not his strong suit. He's used to gripping it and ripping it, you know, getting down there.
No shocker here. They're lining up to go for it on 4th down on their own 28. On the first drive of the second half for them. This is what they do. Veldkamp, and runs again. This time it works to perfection, and he's got a first down. They don't run him a lot, but he is highly capable. And again, he's 6'6", 236.
So he's a big target. When you say he's a quarterback, he's a big target, but he does have the ability to at least get open a little bit. He did a little bit of that with the Hilltoppers.
Veldkamp buying time, looking for Messer, and knocked away by Kevin Adams. That's a big-time play in the secondary for Adams.
That's a great job. You know, he comes in, he's filling in. He's a starter. You know, he used to be around the football a lot. So he's done a great job right there, just looking at the ball, reading the quarterback size, and getting there to make a play.
Redshirt sophomore from Destrehan, Louisiana. He had an interception in Tulane's opener against Northwestern. And he had a pick last year against Florida in the Gasparilla Bowl as well. Second down and 10. And a big opening for Sands. That is by far the best run play of the day for Florida Atlantic. Again, in the first half, 13 carries for a grand total, 9 carries for a grand total of 13 yards.
Yeah, it was like a draw play, but really, that's how you open up the run, by throwing this consistently as Caden is throwing it.
Looking for a screen, set up to Wasim. Makes a couple of men miss and gets into Tulane territory at the 49-yard line. Wasim was playing for Deion Sanders at Colorado to start off his career before transferring over to FAU and playing for the Owls. It's Sands again. And this time he is wrapped up after a short gain. It was second down and short. And he did have enough for a first down.
So they've done a great job with this defense of opening it up a little bit. They've turned to a 3 safety scheme.
Oh, that's a big time hit. Isaiah Shine, the redshirt freshman corner, immediately knocking down Assad Wasim.
This great play, come up and finish the tackle. He's played great today. We've called his name a lot.
He's been around the football all the time.
Breaking up plays, causing interceptions. For a freshman, he's played well.
5 tackles in the day. Veldkamp to throw again. That's deflected and picked off. Another interception. It's Jaheim Johnson, a 3rd pick for the Green Wave. They have forced 4 turnovers today, and Johnson has his 3rd interception of the season.
So that's the only thing. When you get him into a 3 safety scheme, then it's harder to push the ball down the field because you got him out there. But I mean, you know, if you look at it, The ball was tipped in the air before the receiver can even get it.
Javion White got a piece partner.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just a great play by the defense. Being ball hungry, being ball hawks. Get in the passing lanes, tip it a little bit, and then, then you got to go with the tip drill and make it happen.
Now, Javion White was the team leader with 3 picks. He's now tied with Jaheim Johnson for the team lead, courtesy of his pass breakup that led to the interception.
Right.
But I'm sure he's happy for his teammate. And Tulane has forced 4 turnovers. And Retzloff in this offense trying to push the lead. Up 11. Retzloff, and that pass incomplete. Remember, there was a stage in that Memphis game. The Tulane offense came out about as hot as you possibly can in the first half at the Liberty Bowl last Friday. They led 35-17 at halftime. Retzloff threw for more than 300 yards in the first half. His total offense was pretty much all in the first half. They had 4 straight 3-and-outs at one point after that.
Yeah,
before he ran for a first down to clinch the game.
And then, Coach Summerall was like, look, we got to fix this. That's not something we can, sustain, especially the way this conference is, how close it is.
This is McClure. Tell you what, McClure is showing up in a big way here. Redshirt freshman from Goshen, Alabama, 8 carries for 50 coming in. He gets 11 there. He's got 45 yards on the ground today.
That look inside zone. It was nothing, really fancy or anything. It's just him and that offensive line coming off the ball, 1-step cut, get downhill. He's not going to go out there and really blaze it and get down the field. He's going to hit and get the hard yardage you want and press the pocket.
So McClure has nearly matched his total output in his first 8 games played, and we're still in the 3rd quarter on the grounds. Retzloff off play action, and that is picked off. Josh Roberts, true freshman from Melbourne, Florida, with a potential game-changing play for FAU. A big man pick. And FAU didn't have a single interception in their first 8 games of this season, has 3 now in their last 2 games.
Yeah, they call it the rush position. He's a linebacker-esque type of pass rusher, and he drops back. When he gets back, Retzloff didn't even see him. Great pick, shows great hands. Nice little interception to turn the ball over. That's exactly what this Owls offense needed.
Well, Retzloff had not thrown an interception until the Army game on October the 18th here at home. Then he threw another one against UTSA, and he's now got 4 picks thrown this season. And finally, FAU gets a turnover of their own. Zach Kitley's probably thinking, finally. Again, they had to go 9 games just to get their first interception of the season.
And he got 2 of them that game, if I'm not mistaken.
And his offense finally has good field position. Veldkamp has to just dump that one in the turf in the direction of Sands, with heavy pressure from Norman and Westmoreland up the middle.
They're going to have to go back to their quick offense, getting the ball out of his hands with slants, shallow crosses, things of that nature, because when you have a defense like this with 3 safeties on the back end, they want to get everything and capture everything in front of them. But you can nickel and dime it by getting little pass plays here, 5 yards here, 3 yards here, until you get a first down.
Messer in motion. 2nd and 10, they run it with Sands. And they're starting to get traction now in the run game. Again, in the first half, 13 carries for 9 yards. Already 5 carries for now 36 in the second half here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, spread everybody out. You're going to go to that defense. We're going to go to this.
3rd down and 4. This is certainly slower than the usual pace FAU goes at. Again, usually the quickest tempo team in the FBS in terms of time per snap, 22 seconds. Tulane rushing 4. Veldkamp looking for Wasim, and incomplete with Javion White out in coverage. So now 4th and 3. And what else is new? FAU keeping the offense on the field.
They're going to stay on the field. The coach is more of a gunslinger than the quarterback.
It could be 4th and forever throwing 1. I wouldn't put it by Zach Kitley to go for it in that spot.
It's confidence in your guys, confidence in your team.
Again, they had converted, entering today, 20 of their past 23 4th downs. 4th down and 3 at the 43. Veldkamp, a crosser, Wasim drags brought down by Mekhi Williams. What a tackle out in space from the junior from Zabolo, Texas.
Great tackle, comes out. They're on a little crossing route. And right in front of the linebacker, he comes up and makes the play. That's a great play. Usually, it's hard for those linebackers to really keep up with these receivers. But that's just him coming up and finishing the play. Change the downs. That's exactly what you want to get things going. Hey, at this point, the Owl offense did not take advantage of the turnover. Tulane took advantage of their turnover.
Greg Gasparotto couldn't have raved about him enough to us. Mekhi Williams and his emergence. And they turn over FAU on downs.
Old school linebacker.
Oh, man, he is. And again, stepping up without Sam Howard in there today. One of their leaders in that linebacking core. McClure still in the backfield next to Retzloff. Gets the handoff. He's starting to find seams all over the place. That left side of the offensive line leads the way often for Tulane. You know, we mentioned earlier Shadre Hurst and how good he is. Derek Graham, the left tackle as well. 2nd down and 1. It is the left side of this offensive line. It's about as good a left side of a line as there is in all of America.
You don't, where's the beef? You know, you run to your veteran side, you know, who you feel most comfortable with. And he can put his hands on people, when, you know, and it's just great run blocking by that side.
Hurst and Graham, both all-conference picks a season ago. Retzloff off play action. And downfield, he's got his man falling down. Piscuzzi has another catch. He came in with 4 receptions all year. He's got 2 now through 3 quarters in this one.
Great play by Retzloff. If you look at it, it's really hard, you know, to throw a catchable pass, because it's hard to catch the ball over your shoulder like that. And that's just almost like he wanted to just hand the ball off to him. But that's a hard pass to complete. You never know until you go through something like this, where you have to lay it in there, and he's all by himself. You don't want to overthrow him. You don't want to underthrow him. Great pass catch by tight end.
It's a gain of 18. Take a look at this. He was falling down. He did a heck of a job to try to keep this off the turf. But again, that football does touch the turf. Question is, does he have control first? That is so tough. I can tell you that once he bobbled, it didn't hit the turf again. But that ball does touch the turf after it had hit his shoulder first.
JB, I'm going to keep my opinion to myself.
Hey, you don't want to risk your 100% rate on guessing today? Again, call on the field is a completed pass. Now, if you have enough control, the ball can scrape the ground. That's one where, because I don't think it hits the turf again, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's hard to overturn, probably.
That is hard to overturn. But, I mean, from the looks I see.
Again, he's got it pinned to his shoulder. It's probably going to be, again, that's one of these aspects of the catch that we talk about often. If you have control, it can then scrape the ground. You obviously can't use the ground to catch the football. You have to have it secure your body first.
Right.
Anyway, Piscuzzi is a transfer from Iowa. He was teammates with Brendan Sullivan a year ago, so they get a couple of key players from Iowa, native of Olathe, Kansas.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it's going to be uphill.
I think I'm taking credit for this one if it is. Someone here went out on a limb initially. You saw all the benefits of the replays.
Right.
Well, he's part of a group of tight ends that John Sumrall and offensive coordinator Joe Craddock like a lot. With Justin Reed, we saw Anthony Miller Jr. catch his first career touchdown earlier. Justin Reed yet to have a catch today. He's been Tulane's top target as a tight end this season.
Yeah, to leave tight end Iowa, you know, that's pretty big.
Right. They have had a lot of good ones come out of there, haven't they?
Yeah, great ones.
Tell you what, you played with some good tight ends with the Steelers, didn't you?
Yeah, I played with Heath Miller.
I was thinking Heath Miller.
Jerry Tooman.
Another look here. This is super slow-mo. What a job by our crew here. Again, That's Greg in our tape room, by the way, getting that shot. Again, I think the ability of Piscuzzi to pin that ball to his shoulder before it touches the turf, and then after the bobble, the ball never hits the turf again. We think that is probably getting upheld, but
I think so.
We'll have to wait and see.
I'm still not going to give Greg any credit, though. You know, down there on the Elvis.
No.
Never that.
Piscuzzi began his career in Iowa as a walk-on in 2021 and redshirted. We mentioned he's a native of Olathe, Kansas. This Tulane team, no surprise when you have a team in John Summerall and you're in New Orleans, you have guys from a lot of places. There are 34 Louisiana players in this roster, 10 are from New Orleans.
Wow.
They have 82 out-of-state guys. He is the only native of, actually, he's one of 2 Kansas natives, but they have players from 24 states represented on this roster.
Wow.
Kind of reflective of the, a thing of gumbo in New Orleans, right?
After review, the call on the field is upheld. It's a catch. First down, Tulane.
2 for 2. 2 for 2 now.
I appreciate how much credit you give yourself.
Oh, my goodness.
Piscuzzi with a great catch. It's a completion to the 24-yard line and a gain of 18 yards. And for Piscuzzi, that is a new season-long reception.
That's a hard pass.
It catches at 12 and 18 in this game, 30 receiving yards. He came in with 34 on 4 grabs this year. Motion man Brown Stevens. Fake it to him, give it to McClure. And he has a couple of yards.
Good run defense.
Well,
they're starting to get penetration now, you know, getting up the field.
Good to see Marcelin back in, by the way. We saw him lying down around the goal line of Tulane in the early part of the third, so he's back in the game. 2nd down and 9, and Tulane is burning a lot of clock in this second half. This is one way you keep an offense from scoring. You don't let them have the ball. Retzloff. And on the end around, Brown Stevens, room to run. And he is inside the 10. He's got 1st and goal to go for Tulane.
He didn't get tackled by the Owls. It's the offensive line. But watch this, you know, I love the way they play this. You know, tight end goes around on loop-de-loop and get that big offensive line out there blocking. But then you watch, look, the offensive lineman knocks him down. He tackled him.
Well, 15-yard rush. Career long rush for Brown Stevens. 1st and goal at the 8. McClure right up the gut and walking in for 6. It's another Tulane touchdown. Jamari McClure with his first touchdown of the season, I should say, and 2nd career rushing score.
Great double team up front. Once again on that left side. They drive the defensive end back, and then he just, boom, takes it to the house. Great blocking up front.
Give a lot of credit to that Tulane offensive line on that drive. Giving Retzloff time, opening up rushing lanes. And McClure now 7 carries for 63 and a score as Durkin's extra point is up and through. So McClure and the run game have gotten going. A big part of that is the offensive line, and the left side of that offensive line. Watch 56 and 76.
I mean, that's just getting guys up out of the club. Drive back, and then you turn around, you drive them all the way to the linebacker. You dump on the linebacker.
Well, how about this with Shadre Hurst, too? He was a state champion wrestler in high school. He's a native of Cartersville, Georgia, went to Cartersville High, won the state championships in wrestling in the heavyweight division as a senior and junior. He also loves to cook. There's just one of the many meals. I'll tell you what, that's looking pretty good to me. We got a little pancake and egg action.
Oh, man, it looks good. Pancake, and he got the simple syrup with the strawberries, looking good, you know. I mean, that's great, you know. You take the strawberries, you know, make the simple syrup, then you pour it over the pancakes, get a little bit on the eggs too. That's some home cooking. That's my thing. You know, as a big guy, that's what you love.
Full-on homemade strawberry jam, courtesy of Shadre Hurst, one of the best interior offensive linemen in the country. Last year, all-conference first team. He's on his way to another all-conference selection this season. And that kick will go through the end zone for a touchback. Well, the storyline today for FAU's offense and for Tulane's defense, turnovers. How about 3 interceptions along with a muff punt?
They're just going out there and they're hurting themselves. It's not necessarily what Tulane is doing to them. They're just making too many mistakes. Turnovers is what's been killing them all year, and that's what they talked about in our meeting. They made it an emphasis. You know, Coach Kelly was like, come on, guys, we've got to make it happen. We've got to stop with the turnovers. We have a good offense. We can get the ball down the field. We just got to stop with the turnovers.
And Tulane has won 12 straight games when they've had fewer turnovers than their opponents. So this is the last team in the world you want to be given free possessions to, as Shields Dutton makes the catch and gains 4 yards. FAU came into this game minus 12 for the season in the turnover margin. Can make that minus 15 now. This is a big hole. And Shields Dutton is across the 40-yard line. Florida Atlantic has gotten the run game going here in this third quarter in a big way.
A big way. You know, that's just because of the defense. They don't care much about the run game because they want to stop the big plays.
Shields Dutton again. And the ball popped out. They initially rolled him down. Tackle made by Jack Chenchu, who hit him initially. Watch this again. Now there's Chenchu getting the ankle and elbow down.
Yeah.
Veldkamp to throw. And on the out route, Wasim along the sideline has it on a gain of about 9 yards. Well, in that third quarter, Tulane made sure that FAU barely had the football. If you don't have the football, you can't score. 28-10 in favor of Tulane. The Green Wave have won 32 straight games with leading after 3 quarters, trying to make it 33. Well, we came in talking about these two quarterbacks. Caden Veldkamp, a huge first half, threw for just 12 yards in the third quarter with an interception. And Jake Retzloff, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, does have the 1 interception, but has managed the game beautifully for a Tulane offense that's been very balanced run and pass. 180 pass yards, also 123 rush yards.
2 really good quarterbacks. Just too many turnovers for Florida Atlantic.
On third down and short to start off the fourth quarter. That handoff goes to Shields Dutton. He's up the middle for a first down. Again, I mentioned this at the end of the third quarter. Tulane has won 32 consecutive games when leading after 3 quarters. That's tied for the 5th longest streak in the FBS. So when they have their nose in front in the final frame, they don't blink. And John Sumrall has emphasized all season long his team's ability to finish. The other thing they do, and this is not the closest game in the world right now in an 18-point margin. One of the remarkable numbers about them as well is their ability to win tight games. They've won 7 straight games decided by 8 points or fewer, and that's incredible.
That is incredible. Consider the fact, you know, this team they've been good for the past couple years. So they're always on everybody's calendar like, look, we got to play against this Tulane team. Tough.
John Sumrall 15-3 in such games in his career as a coach. Sands finding a seam and finding a first down. So what is FAU finding in the ground game right now?
Well, what they're finding is this is more of a prevent type of defense that this Tulane defense is running. And how do you get them out at? You run the ball. If you're going to give me an opportunity to run it, that's exactly what they're doing. They're running inside zone, allowing the back to pick and choose where he wants to go, because they're not worried about that. They want you to run the ball, take time off the clock, but they haven't, have 3 safeties out there. They're keeping you from throwing the ball deep, the big plays.
Veldkamp, he wanted to load up. Instead, it goes off the hands of Sands. And probably good he didn't catch it, because Mo Westmoreland was there to drop Sands if he caught it for a loss of a couple.
It's a great scheme by this defense. It's almost like an umbrella defense. Let everything happen in front of you and then close on the ball. They're doing a great job of denying the big play for this Florida Atlantic team. They want to push the ball down the field, but they can't right now with the big play.
3rd down and 8. They need the 22 to move the chains. Of course, knowing them, they're always in 4-down territory. And they'll be that way from this point on. Play clock down to 2 when they snap it. Veldkamp to the sideline, and that's out of the reach of Jay-Sean Platt. And now 4th down and 8. Now they've gone for it on 4th down a bunch, but this is the longest situation they've had to go for it on 4th down at 4th and 8.
Well, you should even said, they were going to go for it on 4th down, especially with as much time on the clock. And plus, they're comfortable with doing it.
Maybe a little surprising there, though, not to at least try to make sure they get a couple of yards and make it more manageable.
It's tough for a defense also, because if they don't do it, they're asking that defense to come in and play on a 4th down.
You can see Veldkamp's numbers on 4th down this season. Leads the FBS in every single one of those categories. Here he is, finding Platt and finding a first down. That's a big-time throw. And that, in a sense, keeps FAU in this game on a huge pickup on 4th down and 8 for 12.
Way to grip it and rip it out there to Pratt. See, that's where you attack. You attack on the outside, not the interior, but the outside.
Veldkamp has a clean pocket this time. Rolls to his right, all kinds of time. And Mekhi Williams chases him towards the sideline as he throws it out of bounds. Another look here at the pass to Platt for 12.
A strong arm to be able to throw to the sideline, and even a better catch by Pratt to make sure he secured it and not drop it. They've had a lot of drops today also.
One guy we have not heard from in the second half so far, Easton Messer, who in the first half exploded. 7 catches for 117 yards.
And that's because he's in the slot, in the interior of that defense. They don't want the interior to be where they want to feast as far as an offense.
Well, they go interior that time. It's Dom Henry, and he has himself a first down and goal situation for FAU.
Great pitch and catch.
So Henry has found himself loose over the middle a few times. That's his 6th catch. Going again, Veldkamp. And is caught by Wasim. He tiptoes along the sideline and out of bounds. They'll call it for the moment at the 5. And there's an injured player down for Tulane. That looks like Javion White. And that is not good for one of the key guys in this secondary for Tulane. Remember, they're already down Bailey Despaney, who was ejected for targeting in the second quarter. They call him Slim. Bailey Despaney, though, is anything but that. And it's in the time since he's arrived on the Tulane campus, he's just been an animal in the weight room. And,
right.
You know, one thing worth mentioning, too, Despaney is one of those guys. We talked earlier about Bryce Bohannon and the development of so many of these Tulane players over the years who've stuck around in the program and gotten to a fourth year or a fifth year. We were talking about the late Kurt Hester and what he did turning around a 2-10 team that went the following season to win a Cotton Bowl and go 12-2 and Smacker on the sidelines had that great report at halftime. But his influence still passes on to today with Rusty Witt, John Sumrall's strength coach now, and the way they go about things and the way guys develop in this program.
It's the anchor. You know, a lot of teams don't contribute to their success coming from stuff that goes on off the field. Weight room etiquette, understanding what to do and how to do it. Just as far as how you conduct yourself as a player, and being in that weight mill and dominating the weight room, that's where he showed them how to really take it to the next level. In the weight room, lifting weights and becoming what you think you want to come just by lifting weights and being more stronger and aggressive player.
Yeah, the kind of guy Kurt Hester was, he addressed the team when he knew that he was following Willie Fritz to Houston. And John Sumrall said he told the team and he handed the keys off to Rusty Witt and helped them transition. Veldkamp, meanwhile, design run, and he won't get much. The Tulane defense knocked that ball free again and nearly hopped on another one. Remember, they forced a turnover, they forced a fumble, I should say, in the first half as well, but couldn't grab it.
They forced a couple of them. Got to be more careful with the ball, and then that's got to be something that's got to be coached and really become important to you as an offense. Mekhi
Williams got there and knocked it loose. He has been an animal today on this Tulane defense.
He's been everywhere.
7 tackles, a TFL, 3rd down and goal at the 4. Veldkamp hands off. Sands a jump cut, and Sands is down to about the 1.5. 4th down and goal. Shocker. FAU going to go for it.
Right. But you see Williams in the middle of that defense.
Now there's another Tulane injury.
Got held.
Looks like this time it's Mo Westmoreland's their bandit. That's one of the positions that's become a staple in this program. Just a pass rushing edge who can wreak havoc all over the place. John Sumrall will go out and check on his redshirt senior, who's a transfer from UTEP, a guy who last year led Conference USA with 8 sacks. He had a 15.5 sacks in his 3 years at UTEP before coming over to the Tulane program. That looked like it might have been friendly fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of those this game. It's a hard-hitting game, a physical game. Tulane came with the idea that, look, we're just going to out-muscle, we're going to out-fight you, and it's worked for them.
Well, Zach Kitley's FAU Owls are still fighting. 11:19 left, facing a 4th down and goal. But right now the concern for Westmoreland, who has only 1 sack this season. It came against Memphis, though, last week after, again, having 8 last year to lead Conference USA at UTEP. He started his career at Kilgore College in Texas, a JUCO. Houston native. Had a monster high school career at Klein Forest High, and he was a 2-time All-Conference USA selection. Crowd here, which is packed for homecoming, clapping as he walks off under his own power. That's a good sign.
It's a great sign.
Now they have sold out this place today for homecoming. It is a place that has been incredibly difficult on opposing teams since the start of the 2022 season, when this run of dominance for Tulane football began. Again, they're 39 wins since 2022, 8th most nationally in FBS. And a lot of that damage has been here at home. 4-0 this season. Last year lost just once at home. on 4th down and goal. Hand off to Shields Dutton, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. So Florida Atlantic responds. They get just what they needed. Shields Dutton scoring from a yard out. And now they will try and I think go for 2.
It's up to the offensive line. You got to drive guys off the ball. Simple play. You got to whip the guy in front of you. This time, this offensive line was able to scrape and push guys out the way. Give the running back just a little bit of light to make the touchdown.
FAU is 2 for 6 on 2-point conversions this year. Tulane opponents are 4 for 7. Platt motions. Veldkamp looking to throw. Hanging in the pocket, and he throws it out of the end zone. So it remains a lead of a dozen for Tulane. But Florida Atlantic creeping a little closer. They march it down. How about 17 plays to go 75 yards? And Shield Dutton in for Pater.
We're back in Yeoman Stadium. Tulane leads Florida Atlantic 28-16. I talked to FAU quarterback Caden Veldkamp earlier this week, and guys, he's a total competitor. He lights up talking about football, and he told me this is what it's all about. They remember what you do in November. FAU has a huge opportunity at making a bowl game with 2 big games against UConn and ECU after this, and they've kept it to a 2-possession game in the 4th quarter, so they can continue that momentum here.
Yeah, great stuff, Smacker. And Zach Kitley was just raving to us talking about Veldkamp. You know, he was at Western Kentucky for 3 years. He played in the Boca Raton Bowl. Of course, his teammate for 3 years was Easton Messer. Those two have been roommates going back to their time at Bowling Green together. And when they were at the Boca Raton Bowl, it wasn't hard for Zach Kitley to begin the recruiting process. As Tulane takes a kickoff, it's Mobley, and he returns it up to about the 34-yard line. But I'd say that it worked out pretty conveniently for Zach Kitley to have those 2 guys in town.
Right.
Of course, he calls Veldkamp. He mentions the leadership skills. This is a guy in Zach Kitley who's coached a lot of really good quarterbacks. The top one being Mr. Patrick Mahomes, who now is starring, of course, in the NFL. The multi-time MVP, the 3-time Super Bowl champ, and he coached him at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury, that offensive mind that kind of ingrained the concepts in Zach Kitley. There's the numbers on Veldkamp today. He's over 300 passing for the 4th time this year. So meanwhile, the other quarterback, Jake Retzloff, in this Tulane offense to work. 28-16, 11 to go in the 4th, and they dump it off in the flat to Omari Hayes.
They got to make sure that at this point they don't start falling asleep from an offensive standpoint for for the, for them to stay in and stay focused on it, because we talked about this with coach saying, all right, last time they played last week, they kind of, turned up and put the brakes on, and they almost lost the game, because of that. So they're going to make sure they keep their foot on the pedal this game.
And off to McClure, who's had a huge day on the grounds. He's up to the 40-yard line. McClure nearing 70 yards on the ground. In fact, he's right there now when he entered with 50 on the season on 8 carries. He's carried it 8 times today.
Sometimes you need to ground and pound it. We call this 4-minute offense. You want to wind the clock down, put your 4-minute offense in. You just come off, run the ball, hit guys in the mouth, and just keep on going. This is the physical game now.
And just under 70 for McClure, who also has a score. Retzloff out in the flat, and that is Bohannon taking a big shot from Demarius McGee, the Kansas transfer who began his career playing at LSU. So he knows Louisiana a little bit. A couple of years in Baton Rouge. Didn't play much there, only played in 13 games.
This is crazy, as I watch college football these days, where you can just leave and go other places.
Well, this is 4th down and 1, Tulane going. They need a yard. Retzloff trying to go right up the gut. Didn't need much, and they got it.
The tush push.
I was going to say, not quite the full-on tush push, but a variation.
Yeah, just one guy. But, the Eagles have made that play famous. And they don't like to call it the tush push. But, you get behind your quarterback, you push him on a QB sneak. And I'm going to tell you the truth. They don't need anybody to push with Jalen Hurts squatting 600 pounds and the offensive line, everybody being over 350, with the exception of the center. You really don't need much pushing from anybody's tushes.
Well, Retzloff's a pretty strong guy, but he's no Jalen Hurts.
Right.
To the outside edge, Mobley. And he gets forward for about 3 yards. You go back to Retzloff and his toughness and his competitiveness. And this is a guy who had to battle his way for everything he's gotten in his college career. And we were talking to John Summerall about this, but a native of Corona, California.
Yes.
He didn't have a senior year of high school. The school was shut down because of COVID at Centennial. Ends up at Golden West College, a JUCO in California. Lights it up at Riverside City College. He played with his brother Reggie there, actually, so had that connection going on. Reggie now plays Division II ball at CSU Pueblo over in Colorado. And Retzloff slings it over the middle for Hayes. And he's got a 1st down.
Yeah, that's an incredible story also, because he didn't really get a chance to start in college.
There's a flag
in
down.
High school.
Yeah, flag on the play here after the catch by Hayes. Tulane's been penalized 6 times today for 69 yards. 40 more penalty yards than FAU. That was a gain of 14.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 7, 15-yard penalty. The down counts. 1st down for Tulane.
So Shaz Preston picks up a penalty that John Summerall is not going to be happy with.
No, not at all. And he runs a tight camp also. You got to grow up. You can't allow it to happen.
So they called it on 7. Hayes is number 1. Yeah, you saw 7. You saw him right at the end of your replay there come in and just shove a defensive back on FAU. So Preston, who had a huge game last week, on the first play from scrimmage for Tulane against Memphis, he caught a 65-yard touchdown, a career-long catch. Guy who started his career in Alabama, who John Summerall has just raved about, but that's a big mistake there. Back it up to the 46. And Mobley ahead for about 3 yards. Going back to Retzloff, and we were talking about. So he lights it up at Riverside City College. Even despite that, he only had 1 Division I offer after that. And guess who it was? John Summerall at Troy.
At Troy, yes.
Now, of course, BYU comes into the picture late and scoops him, and he ends up becoming a Big 12 honorable mention selection in his 2nd year playing at BYU. Didn't play a whole lot in his 1st season there, but this is a guy who has just developed and worked into the leader and competitor he is. And right now trying to lead Tulane to the conference championship in the American and possibly the college football playoff. Along the sideline, that's Justin Reed. First catch today for their leading receiver among tight ends coming in. That's his 13th grab of the season, and it goes for 16.
Yeah, he goes out like he's going to block on the screen, and the receiver goes out like he's going to be on the screen, but then he goes out in the pass play and gets it to the tight end. That's just great conceptually and great, mock-up of a play. Shows like he's going to block and then turns around and catches the little out route.
How about this for spreading the wealth? 9 different receivers today for Retzloff. Who's over 200 passing. Oh, some trickeration here. Back to Retzloff. Back to Pascuzzi. He's having a career day. That was some trickeration, and that was some craftiness from offensive coordinator Joe Craddock. A gain of 25 to Pascuzzi, who's got 3 grabs today for 55 yards.
Coach Summerall told me he wasn't going to take his foot off the pedal. He's going to keep going. A fake reverse, flea flicker, gets it out to his tight end. They're giving the tight end some love right now.
He had 6 catches for 75 yards in his college career entering today. Retzloff off the play fake. And a low throw. He's going to want that one back.
Yes.
Had an open Shaz Preston, couldn't find him.
I love the motion they have in the backfield when they run that play. It's not but a boot right, but what they do is, as far as the circle motion, and then they turn around and he gets out, puts him in a position where you can see the field open up, and then, if he'd had it brought up that pass up a little bit, it'd been right there, first down and going in to score.
2nd and 10. Tulane running a lot of clock here late in the 4th. This is McClure. And the pile keeps pushing. Look at this Tulane offensive line. And he just keeps muscling his way forward inside the 10. Well, John Summerall's got to like that. A 6-yard gain that looked like it'd be about 2.
Right. But this is a coachable moment. He's going to use this, and they're probably going to watch this as a team when they come back and watch film tomorrow. So you just never give up. You never take your foot off the pedal. You have to keep grinding. If you want to go out and be a part of the whole playoff system, this is how you win it. This is how you learn that grit that you need to go in and then get an opportunity to play in the Power 5 and be a part of that.
Retzloff fires right near the goal line. It's complete to Preston. He is just shy of a touchdown, but it is going to be first down and goal at the 1.
Once again, he threaded that pass through a needle.
He's had a lot of those today, hasn't he? The timeout taken on defense by FAU.
It looked like it was double coverage, man. He was able to thread the needle.
Actually, Tulane whistled for the timeout. 4:35 to go. Tulane knocking on the door, trying to extend. Tulane's lead late in the fourth, 28-16 over Florida Atlantic, 4:35 left. Got some young fans in the stands here at homecoming. I don't know what the fight is about right now. Your team's up a dozen.
When it's brothers, you don't need a reason to fight.
There you go, right? Well, there's been a lot of dancing in the crowd like that too.
It's homecoming. It's homecoming.
Tulane knocking on the door once again. They are inside the one. First down in goal. Right now, a 12-point lead. A drive that has already consumed nearly 6.5 minutes. Retzloff under center. Running back McClure. Retzloff will keep it. And he plunges forward. And he is into the end zone for a touchdown. So Jake Retzloff caps off a mammoth drive for Tulane with a 1-yard score. They go 14 plays for Pater.
Seal the deal. I mean, Coach Summerall is gonna. This is a pretty good day for him, simply because all these teachable moments he has. Of course, he's gonna yell at them about, them having penalties, but he could not say anything less than had great effort today, great physicality. Everybody came to play.
Extra point from Durkin is away and through. The drive in total, 13 plays, 67 yards. Jake Retzloff caps it off. His 11th touchdown rush of the year. Ties him for 7th on the single season list. Well, you can see Tulane's dominance in conference play since the 2022 season. That was the year after they went 2-10, flipped it around, and then won the Cotton Bowl going 12-2. Willie Fritz continued that the following year going 11-3, and John Sumrall has kept this thing towards the top of all of college football, only behind Georgia as far as conference record over the course of the last 3+ seasons. And that is some quality company to be in. Again, just one loss or fewer for this program in conference play over the last 4 seasons.
He has coached his way into being a destination point for guys to come play. You want to go to Alabama, you may not get an opportunity to play, but you come here, and you can play, he's going to give you that opportunity. He doesn't worry about where you ranked or anything else. He just wants players that are quality to come play for him.
And you think about what this program has done now for 4 years. This is the first time in program history they've had 4 straight 7-win seasons. Their previous long stretch, 3 straight years, 1929 to 1931. That's about 95 years ago.
You're right.
It is historic stuff what's going on in Uptown, and John Sumrow was very quick to point that out to us this week. Jason Courier, by the way, Tulane's fantastic SID, giving us that stat on the number of consecutive 7-win seasons. We appreciate all he does. Tulane's lead now 19 points, 35-16. And on their way to an 8th win on the season, and again making more history. When you haven't had 4 straight 7-win seasons, you certainly haven't had 4 straight 8-win seasons. Zach Kitley's team, meanwhile, had to win 2 of their final 3 games in order to become bowl eligible for the first time since 2020. They are going to have to, it looks like, win their final 2 games, but we'll see what they can do here to finish off this one. They swing it out to Wasim. He's had a big game in the receiving game. And Wasim is ahead near the 45-yard line up to the 44. That's his 11th catch on the day.
Great tunnel screen. You follow your blocking. Get up in that tunnel and get as much as you can.
And dump it in front. And Sands is met at the 49 of Tulane. It's a quick strike FAU offense, but you credit Tulane in this second half for how long they kept the ball. They've kept them off the field.
That's 4-minute football. You want to drive that clock down, and they had the majority of the time.
Platt initially made one man miss, and then he's brought down by Kevin Adams.
You know, JB, you talk about all this, you know, as far as them losing this game, but you got to look at this also. I mean, he's a new head coach.
Yep. Building
his own, you know, at this point, thinking about how do you set the tone? How do you go in and set your culture? Right. He's still setting his culture. He's still getting to know his guys in his locker room, getting to know what it is to be a head coach. I think he's done a stand-up job of even competing at this level right now, especially with him being a new coach.
Well, again, it's an FAU program, and you can see Veldkamp in what he's done today. Now, 359 yards passing. That is a new career best. Outside to Messer. That is Messer's first catch of the second half after he had 7 for 117 at halftime. But to your point on FAU, it's a program, again, they haven't had a season above 500 in both overall or conference play since 2020.
And to pick up on a program like this where they were and get them to where they're at right now, I think he's done a stand-up job.
By the way, season high, not career high for Veldkamp in passing yards. Threw for 343 against FIU. And Sands takes it inside the 25-yard line. This is a program that began playing as an FCS member in 2001 when it launched. Their 25th season of football. It's their 3rd FBS conference now, being in the American after stints in the Sun Belt and Conference USA. As Veldkamp looks to throw to the end zone, and that is batted away. A combo job there from Chenchu and Adams against Wasim, who was looking for 6.
They're still fighting. I love that they're still going out and they're still trying to score. This is what you want. You know, he's probably proud of his guys, understanding they could have just given up right now. But they're still out there fighting, still trying to score. Quarterback still trying to lead this team.
Shields, Dutton up the gut, and he has himself a first down. So needed a yard, ended up getting about 10. And a nice run for Shields Dutton as we take the 2-minute timeout. Tulane up big on their way to 8-2 and 5-1 in the American. Minute 55 left. Homecoming weekend here in Uptown New Orleans, where the Tulane Green Wave are rolling. Pun intended. There's Green Wave man. He shows up at every single Tulane event pretty much. Makes his way onto the screen seemingly all the time too. But they've had a fun homecoming here, partner, and a team that has been dominant. It's a football resurgence that has continued under John Sumrall after the foundation laid by Willie Fritz. And look, the students have taken notice. The alumni have taken notice. They have made upgrades around the campus. They've got a new practice facility that's coming in. John Sumrall was the defensive coordinator here back from 2012 to 2014. Yeoman Stadium opened his final year as a coordinator in 2014, and he was just talking about how much this place has grown in the time since he was last here, more than a decade ago. Now Veldkamp to throw, and over the middle he's got Messer for a touchdown. Only a matter of time before those two connected for 6 more. Veldkamp to Messer from 12 yards out.
Right on cue.
And Messer has his first touchdown of the day.
Really good route. I mean, he knew he was going to take a shot, and he still went in and completed it. He's a tough kid. Messer's a real tough kid. He's willing to go anywhere and catch it.
Hard to believe. Former walk-on in Western Kentucky. There's a lot of those where you say it's hard to believe, but he was a finalist for the Burlsworth Award as a sophomore when he broke out at WKU, and he has become one of the best receivers in the country this year. Veldkamp on the 2-point try, and that is caught. It's Wasim. So they don't get within a score, but they do get a little bit closer.
Respectable.
And they make it 11. So basically what you're doing now is you're within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion plus a field goal.
Yeah, he's run 2 stop routes right there with Messer, and then you turn around, you deliver it to Wasim. Good pass.
Wasim's had a great day. 11 catches is a new career best for him. Guy who only played 4 games in 2 years at Colorado has emerged here as a redshirt sophomore. Veldkamp, meanwhile, has thrown for 375. Again, the new season best. His previous season high was 343 against FIU. His career high in passing, I mentioned earlier, was a career high. That was incorrect. Career high is 398 pass yards. That was last year against Middle Tennessee.
Still a lot of time left.
Well,
to him. For him.
For him. But the problem now is you've only got 2 timeouts if you're FAU. You're down 2 scores, so you have to go for an onside kick. Can the hands team come up with it? This is one of the hardest plays to execute in football, period. They line it up with Andrew Nelms.
Timeout, Tulane. 30-second timeout.
So a timeout
first of the half.
A timeout from Tulane prior to that kick to make sure everybody is aligned properly. You want to make sure you got your hands team in there, and John Sumrall's team trying to wrap up another home victory. Now Jake Retzloff in the first half, 2 touchdowns, no picks, very clean football. He wasn't bad in the second half. He did have the 1 pick that he threw. It was intercepted by one of the D linemen for FAU, Josh Roberts. But again, the complimentary football partner with the run game was a big piece of what Tulane's done today.
Huge piece, and in that interception, you have a defensive lineman that dropped out of the coverage. He didn't see him dropping back like that, so, it happens. But he had a pretty consistent game. It was a well-balanced game, and that's what you're looking for when they sit down and watch film in Tulane's meeting rooms.
So Andrew Nelms will do the honors on the onside kick. Tulane is the hands team on. It's got to travel 10 yards if you're FAU. And right on top of it, Omari Hayes. Shorehand as it gets. And Hayes comes up with that football, and that is just about going to seal it. With 1:49 left, FAU again only has the 2 timeouts, down 2 scores. The Green Wave on their way to an 8th win, and most importantly, a 5-1 record in American Conference play to keep pace for their title game hopes, which is their route in order to try to get into the college football playoff. Again, it's the five highest ranked conference champions that get the automatic berth. So this would come via the group of 5. Retzloff handing off. And Sands pushes the pile forward. Now, there are various scenarios where it won't necessarily be all power conference teams getting automatic berths, the way the college football playoff rankings work. But at Tulane, the bottom line and all that matters from their perspective is being in position to reach the American Conference Championship game. And if they do that and win out, they are going to be in a very good spot in the eyes of the College Football Playoff Committee. They were being talked about being ranked this past week when South Florida got the nod as the only ranked group of 5 team. And of course, USF took their second conference loss today at Navy.
Will they get ranked? That's what I want to know.
I think they've made a case today. So this is the top 6, assuming Tulane holds on with this. This is with the win. They would get to 5-1 and back in Navy. Now the metrics are heavily in favor of North Texas at the moment reaching the American Conference title game. East Carolina leads Memphis late in that one. So East Carolina just one loss as well as Sullivan falls down and was hit, and they weren't happy about that.
No, I mean, I'm not happy with it either.
FAU will its final timeout.
Pretty nice uniforms, right? I mean, look, the helmets.
They're remarkable. The decal, the amount of effort that goes into this. And John Summerall was giving a lot of credit to his entire support staff and all the people that go into making this operation. And there are a whole lot of them. You can see the various aspects of NOLA on full display. I mean, yeah, this is great stuff from our crew. That's as good of a helmet as you'll see, period, in college football this year.
Yeah, I mean, look at the lettering. You know, I mean, it's you thinking being down on what is the street called? Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street.
Being down on Bourbon Street.
And every aspect of a special city on display with these unis. And meanwhile, there's a big run for McClure. Well, this is the only thing he had left to do. Put the icing on the cake for Tulane in the run game. McClure with a gain of 20 yards, and he has a new career high in rushing. He's gone for 95 today on 10 totes.
Great stretch play to the outside, and the big thing he didn't do, run out of bounds. Great discipline by the running back. Can't run out of bounds right there. Keep the clock rolling. 4-minute offense. This is the best play in football.
94 yards officially from McClure. Still a career high for the redshirt freshman from Goshen, Alabama. Retzloff down to a knee. The Green Wave are going to improve to 8-2, 5-1 in the American. If you are wondering, the last time the Green Wave went unbeaten at home, 1998, under the great Sean King at quarterback.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I figured that was a name you would recognize.
1995 draft pick, right? Sean King. I got drafted in 1995.
Well, that was a season where they went 12-0 and ended up winning the Liberty Bowl. Final snap, and Jake Retzloff and Tulane will put another W in the win column. So Tulane 8-2 overall, 5-1 in the American, still just one loss, and the best chances to reach the playoff among group of 5 schools up to date via the all-state playoff predictor, JMU, and then Tulane, closely followed by North Texas. So the Green Wave in about as good a spot as they can possibly be. They got the USF loss earlier. They took care of business here at home, and they are in position to make a run for an American Conference Championship and also the College Football Playoff.
Well, you know, and it's not like they control their own destiny, but they are going to go out there and keep doing what they can do to at least influence a lot of people. They got to get ranked somehow, some way. I think they'll be able to.
Well, remember, they've also got the strength of schedule advantage over JMU in many ways. 2 2 Power Conference wins, plus a win over a ranked Memphis team last week. So that's a big piece of this, and you can't say enough about this guy, Jake Retzloff, and what he's doing. How about now 19-4 as a Division I starter?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job running his offense. I said before when we started this, he's the cog that makes this whole machine run. He played magical today. Great today.
John Summerall is a head coach, now 40-11. And at Tulane, he is 13-2 in league games. Green Wave 5-1 now in conference play, 8-2 overall. They continue the best stretch of football in program history. For our entire crew, from Eric Brooks, Smacker Miles, our producer Mark Balk, director Sam Ramos, Jack Benjamin saying so long from Yeoman Stadium. Final score: Tulane 35, Florida Atlantic 24. The Green Wave stay in the hunt for an American Conference championship.